Hello.
And welcome to
Let's Talk About Book,
where we talk about
Book.
I joined you this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Smeevca.
And I'm Strawberry.
And we're reading Game of Thrones by George R. R.
Yeah.
Martin. And this is a big section.
Yep.
Not in the sense of number of chapters. We're only doing like 8,
Yeah.
which we've been trying to stick to like 6 to 8
Yeah.
normally. But it's a lot of stuff happens in this one.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
But boy, are we getting close. All right. So I think...
I definitely thought it already did.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I guess technically we don't know yet, but like...
But yeah.
I've been kind of giving it away that he's not... Yeah. But... We'll get into that. Yep. Shorter intro today because we got a lot to get through.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Alright, so we're starting with Ned. Ned, whatever number it is, I'll figure it out later. And what is happening with Ned? He's dreaming that he's like walking through the crypts of Winterfell. And we get another "Promise me, Ned," from Lyanna's statue this time.
Right.
And she wore a garland of pale blue roses, and her eyes swept with blood. So blue roses are a thing that are oft associated with Lyanna. It'll come up again. She's often, seen with blue roses and whatnot. But Ned, he's having more creepy dreams.
Yeah.
And he's awoken because Robert's back from the hunt. And Robert's dying.
So, question. In the show, do they make it so that he does the hunt on the way back from King's Landing, or am I just misremembering the show?
I think you're misremembering the show, because in the show they like have the tourney and everything.
Right,
and
no,
he's
you're right,
there.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, because that would be like way...
I don't know why I was like... Because I knew the hunt happens.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's I think it's like the first season is like pretty close to the books.
It's also been a long time since I watched
the show.
Like, I'm pretty sure season 1, I think, was coming out when I was in high school and stuff. And I watched it behind my parents' back.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. But Robert is back and he's dying because he got gored by a boar.
Yes.
Yeah, they were out hunting.
Yeah, not good.
Not good. So the like white deer that had been like spotted in the woods had already been killed by like some wolves.
Yeah.
And so like Joffrey and some of them like came back early. But Robert, there's like a boar, so Robert wanted to go hunt the boar. We like got that like in an earlier chapter or whatever where they were just kind of like talking.
Right.
Which was like, oh yeah, this is why they're like back early.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna go hunt this boar. And
because he's like pissed off that the deer isn't.
Yeah, he's pissed off that the deer was dead and that he couldn't get it. So he's like, I'm gonna go kill this boar instead. And he got fucked up by it.
Yeah.
He like goes and is brought to Robert, and Robert's like fucking lying there.
He's like, but I got it.
It's like, I fucking killed the thing. And Ned's like, why didn't the rest of you keep this from happening?
Yeah.
It's like, he told us to stand back and let him do it.
Yeah.
And Ned thinks about like, Robert's always loved hunting boar. He's seen him do it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And he always would wait until like the very last moment to get it, to fucking spear it whenever it was like charging. But he was too drunk.
Yeah.
And Varys is all like, and how did that happen exactly?
Right. Like, who was there and how did,
And it's, we get specifically highlighted that Lancel, one of the Lannister family, it's like Cersei's cousin?
Yeah.
Because it's, Kevin Lannister's son, I think.
It's not allowed to be named Kevin.
Yeah. It's like... like EVAN?
Got you.
EVAN? Yeah, Kevin Lannister. And
yeah, you can't...
It's just fucking Kevin.
No.
Yeah, he's, like, we haven't really, like, seen him. You know, it's like, cause there's all these just, like, people, so many people just get, like, named, but then, like, are nobody.
Yeah.
But Kevin is, like, Tywin's brother. So, like, we know
Gotcha.
that Tywin's, like, big and important. So, like, Kevin is his brother, and that his, like, son or whatever was the squire to freaking Robert, because there's Lannisters just
Everywhere. Yeah.
They've just, like, put family members in, like, every
it's like, Ned,
possible
Ned,
position.
you know this. You were worried about this the whole time. That there's
Yep.
Lannisters everywhere. And then you go about your plans like there's not Lannisters fucking everywhere. You dumb fuck.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, Cersei, you should just, like, leave with your children, because it's just about you and your children, not the fact that, like, your whole family,
It's not like your family is the bankroll of...
Yeah, but I guess he also probably assumes that, like, if the whole incest stuff gets out, that the Lannisters, as, like, a whole...
It doesn't matter, though, because the Lannisters will want to cover up anything. Like, the Lannisters just want the Lannisters to be in power. It doesn't matter to them if Cersei's doing some fuck shit. Like...
Yeah, I mean, it's like, they keep Tyrion around.
Right,
they don't just, like, kill him off or, like, you know, exile him.
It's pure, they just want their family in power. Yeah, it's... like, that's still...
Yep. Because it's just, like, Tywin... It's so interesting with, like, the Lannisters, the way that they're, like... Tyrion is, like, the sort of embarrassing one, but he's also, like, more of an actually, like, good person deep down, you know?
Yeah.
Like he has his problems.
Yeah,
He has his flaws, but he's, like, not really, like, a bad guy. Meanwhile, the twins, who are, like, you know, the beautiful, you know, couple, like, he's the shining knight, she's the beautiful queen. They're all, like... fucked up and and awful,
right?
And so, you know, it's like the Lannisters' whole, you know, you know what I'm saying. the way in which they have this, like, the perfect image, but they're shitty, and it's interesting, and it's like they're so focused on image, the Lannisters, that's like. They're not gonna stand for you just being like, hey, get out.
Right.
You know, it's like, just leave. And it's like, oh yeah, the queen's just gonna, like, run off without explaining anything to anybody.
And, like, you also, like, that needed to be made public to the right people first, before it's made public to the rest of the, like, because they are very focused on image. I don't think it wouldn't have done much, but maybe make, like, some of their allies not be, you know, like... Yeah, but it doesn't really matter, because their allies are there for money anyway. So, like, their image doesn't actually... It's
like, they're already rich and powerful. It's like, and we already see how, like... It's like, Ned, you already see, just, like, being here, that, like, it doesn't matter who's doing right or not. People will...
follow
they'll turn a blind eye to whatever bad thing to whoever's, like, richest and most powerful in the room, you know?
Right.
It's like, oh, you know, it's so awful, this thing about Daenerys, but we gotta.
Right. Yeah, because there is, like, people in the room that, like, are, like, they see themselves as, like, you know, moral, but they're making the hard decision, you know?
Yep.
Like...
Yep. But, so there's all that with, like, this sort of sense of, like, maybe, you know, it's like getting Robert too drunk so that he can have this hunting accident, which, like, I think about how Sam says that his father threatened him by, like, saying that he would, you know, sort of set up a hunting accident for him.
Right.
So it kind of is like, it's a little suspicious, Robert's death here.
Right. And I wouldn't be surprised, because, like, this is, nothing like this is stated, but, like, because, like, Cersei did the whole thing of trying to rile him up to do the tourney fight. So, like, what were people saying to him on the hunt?
Yeah.
Right? Like, not just the drink, like, oh, like, can you do that, Robert? Like, you know,
are you sure? You seem a little too whatever.
Right. Like, I think that probably had more to do with it than, you know.
Yep. It's, I lost it's like, it's just like, I don't know, rereading this. To go through and, like, underline and stuff. It's such a interesting, chapter. It really because Robert sucks.
Yep. Yeah.
Robert really sucks, but, you know, we're in Ned's perspective, and Ned cares so much about Robert that, like, this, like, sort of last conversation between them really, like, does kind of hit me emotionally.
Right.
Because it's like, Robert is just so pathetic.
Yeah.
As a dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, he's like, but I killed it, you know?
Right, and it's like, okay. The kid, like, was it, like, roast it and feed it,
at my funeral.
Right.
Yep, and he's just so, like, vindictive.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't know, he's kind of ready. He's like, I'm just like he's been like in a kind of depressive like spiral anyway.
Yeah,
I'm just like a shit king. No one's listening to me. No one cares. You know, like all of that. Like, oh, I'll go out in a fight. You know, like. But
then the fight is with
just a boar. So it's just like it's not really.
It's just him drunkenly getting gored by a boar. Yeah. You know.
But, like, I think in his mind, he can, like, rationalize it more that way.
He can be like, I fought back to the bitter end.
Right, like, it wasn't a fit of violence, like, you know.
Yep. Yeah, because Ned's like, you know, damn you, Robert, why do you always have to be so headstrong? Fuck you, Ned, I killed the bastard, didn't I?
Yeah.
You know, just, like, because he never really, like, thinks about the consequences, because he also, like, you know, he kills Rhaegar. And then he ends up becoming king, and that's not what he was, like... Trying to do.
Yep.
And then he, you know, how he runs a kingdom.
Honestly, though, like, Ned was probably selfish and, like, should have done it.
Yeah.
Like, he knew that he is the best, like... is better for it, and he didn't want the responsibility. He didn't want but, like, you know, I think he knows he would have done...
Yeah, Ned, all Ned ever really wanted was kind of just like, I think just like a simple life out in the north with his family.
Right.
You know, like even in the sense of like, he was like, I wasn't supposed to be like Lord of Winterfell.
Right.
And even
like,
all that sort of stuff.
None of it is supposed to be,
He's just like, I am not ready for any of this. I just wanted a nice, happy life with my family alive.
Right.
And
True.
Yeah. And so he's like, being king.
Right.
Oh, I could. It's like, no.
Yeah.
No. That's Robert has the best claim.
Well, he can,
Robert has the best claim for the throne because some fucking Targaryen, like, married a Baratheon a fucking 100 years ago or whatever the fuck.
We're close, and he's fine.
He's fine. You know? I mean, we did have like a big argument with each other, but then my sister died, and we were like, you know, kind of like. We both grieved about that.
Right.
So it's like, you know, that's the last time I saw him was then.
Right.
And so the fact that we fought right before that.
Yeah.
You just kind of don't worry about it too much.
With what fight?
What fight, you know? And it's like, no, Ned, you gotta. Ned's. He looks away a bit too much. Yeah. You know? But he's, you know, having this very. Sort of heartfelt conversation with Robert, and you know, Robert's like you know, talking about like how he was a bad king, bad as Aerys, and he's like, no, you weren't as bad as Aerys, not so bad as that. And he's like, this last thing, this I did right, you won't fail me, you'll rule now, you'll hate it worse than I did, but you'll do well, because he has him write up a will.
Right.
Naming him like protector of the realm, and to sort of like, you know, until Joffrey comes of age, Ned will rule and like raise Joffrey and be like the regent, king regent essentially. Yeah, and there's also a bit where it's like you know, to rule in my stead until my son Joffrey does come of age, and he says, Robert. Joffrey is not your son, he wanted to say.
Right.
And he's like, but he's dying and he's in pain, and I don't want to, like, you know, give him the bad news right now, essentially. So just like... So
then he writes heir instead.
Yep, instead of my son Joffrey, he scrawled my heir. The deceit made him feel soiled, the lies we tell for love, he thought. May the gods forgive me. And he's like, what else do you have me say? And just whatever, you know
right.
you know what to put down.
It's like flowery stuff.
Yeah, you know the words. Just write them. And yeah, he got like really like they describe it like all the way up his torso, essentially. He got gored. It's like really, and then the fact that he had to
then come back
over the course of like I think 1 or 2 days.
Right. Yeah.
There was just like nothing you could really do.
Right.
About it. And you know he's just like just give me something for the pain, let me die. And Ned. Oh yeah, and he's also like the girl, Daenerys, let her live if you can.
Right.
If it's not too late, talk to them and help my son Ned, make him be better than me. Because he also is like, the gods sent this boar to kill me because...
right, because I sent...
that person after Daenerys.
Right,
he was like, I know I shouldn't have done it, but, but I did it anyway. And then the gods did this. And Ned's still thinking, oh, Cersei's gonna take if you had any sense, she'll take the children.
The kids and
it's like, no, Ned, that's not the smart move per se. Yeah.
It's like if I make a threat, she'll just like do like what I say, not like think of something around it, like.
Right. Yep. And
I think also he doesn't think that much of women.
No, I think he's got a little. He does have a little bit of that to him as well.
So it's like Cersei's just some, some mother.
Yeah.
Like
doesn't think about like the actual like power that she has.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think he's got a bit of that in him. And so they give him the milk of the poppy, and he says, "Will I dream? You will, my lord. Good. I will give Lyanna your love, Ned. Take care of my children for me." And Ned is just like, he feels so bad.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he wants to say something but doesn't know what to say. He couldn't bring himself to lie. Then he remembered the bastards, little Bara, Maya in the Vale, Gendry at his forge, and at the wall. I shall guard your children as if they were my own.
Yeah.
He says slowly. Because Ned would make such an Aes Sedai in some ways.
Yeah.
Where he's just like...
Yeah.
No, I wasn't lying.
No lying.
No, I was not.
I will say no word that is not true.
Yes.
Aes Sedai.
Aes Sedai. Yep. He would be shit at all the other Aes Sedai stuff. But yeah. Yeah, it took him 2 days to get him back. By the time I saw him, it was too late. The Grand Maester is saying. And Renly ends up talking to Ned.
By that time, who saw...
Oh, Grand Maester Pycelle. He's like, he's like a doctor and stuff.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, by the time that I saw him to like treat his wounds, it was too late. And so he ends up talking with Renly. Ned.
Right, so shouldn't he have just done this?
Basically. Basically, this is like, he probably should have just done this right away.
He went to Littlefinger instead, and I'm assuming Littlefinger ran him off.
Yeah.
Right? Is that kind of what happened?
Maybe. Oh, I think either that or Renly was just like.
Fine, then I'm out.
Fine, then I'm out, because if we can't do this thing, then I
need to get out of here.
I just need to get out of here before shit's gonna hit the fan.
Otherwise, I'm gonna be fucking.
Get wrapped up in all this bullshit. Because he's like, he wants to...
They literally needed to right then start everything.
Yep.
Like the Lannisters did. As soon as shit happened, they did all of the shit they needed to do.
Yep, because...
Immediately.
Yep. Ma'am, no licking. Don't lick my hand. She just put her paw on my hand, and then immediately took it back. What is this? Why are you being so silly? Yeah, so, oh yeah, and we get another mention of how, he might have been Robert's ghost as he stood there, young and dark and handsome. Yeah, because Renly has this whole plan. Renly is like, I have some men, you have some men, I can get you 100 swords, and and that's like, and what am I supposed to do with 100 swords, huh? And it's like, we need to fucking... take the children. Right. From Cersei.
You're not trying to torture them.
No. Yeah, because he's like...
I'm sorry, this is like a politically, like, sensitive thing. Like,
yeah,
dealing with hostages and all that type of stuff is... But like, you're not gonna beat them up. Like, just, like...
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like they're supposed
Just keep them safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Renly's like, every moment you delay gives Cersei another moment to prepare. By the time Robert dies, it may be too late for both of us.
Your wife already started a war.
Yes.
Continue. You gotta fucking just do it then.
Yeah, because it's like, you already have all this tension with the Lannisters, and you know that Cersei fucking, like, hated Robert. And
Right.
that those aren't Robert's children. They're actually, like,
right.
You know, it's just like, it's going to be a full Lannister power grab.
Yeah.
And so then whenever it's like, whenever they go, oh, actually, we're not going to have you be protector of the realm. Actually, no, Joffrey's just the king now.
Right.
It's
right.
like, then it's like, you can't exactly be surprised when she starts pulling this shit.
Right, right.
You know?
Yeah, I know why Ned is, you know, like, it's, like,
Ned
I'm mad at the character.
Yep. Yeah, because Renly's like, we gotta strike, we must get Joffrey away from his mother, and, you know, get Myrcella and Tommen as well, and, once we have our children, Cersei will not dare oppose you, the council will confirm you as Lord Protector, and make Joffrey your ward. So it's like, he's like, we gotta get them, and get to the council, so that there's, like, no way that they can stop you from, so like, he already knows that, like, they're probably gonna try and keep you from being...
Even if you pull all of this, like, air shit, or whatever, having, like, them under control is still priority, even if you're, like, not going to, you know, like, to look over Joffrey as the heir, like, you're...
Yep, and and he's just like, you know, I'm not gonna go dragging frightened children from their beds and all that, and Renly's just like, my dude, the Lannisters,
right.
Think about them.
Your kids are still in the city.
Yep.
Like, you know that the Lannisters don't give a shit about pulling a child out of their bed, you know, like, so just...
Yeah, and then, like, he gets back to his room and is like, should I have said no to Renly? And he's thinking, like, well, maybe I still have, like, Renly in my back pocket, but Renly's just like, alright, fucking,
I don't know why
he
ever thought that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why he thought that after he said no to Renly, because he wasn't even, like, nice about it. He was like, no, we're not doing it. I'm like, okay, well, that's your only ally in the city. You don't have guards. Like, you don't have anyone left. Yep.
And he gets one of his people, and it's like, go to Dragonstone, deliver a letter for me. So he writes out a letter to Stannis.
Right.
Because he's like, Stannis is technically the next in line, because he's, Robert's oldest brother. I think that, like, Robert's older than Stannis. I would imagine so. Otherwise, Stannis would have been the one who was king, presumably. So it's like Robert, then Stannis, then Renly. And so it's like, alright, so since his sons aren't actually his own, then his brother would be next in line for the throne. So I gotta, like, get a letter to Stannis and be like, trying to get in contact with him.
Right.
And he's like, worried about, like, Tywin and Jaime, who, they're probably gonna have to, like, fight. And he's like, no doubt Lord Stannis was wary after the murder of Jon Arryn, but it was imperative that he sail for King's Landing at once with all his power before the Lannisters could march. And it's like, my dude, you're like, oh, I gotta do this before the Lannisters march. Yeah. And it's like, Renly is like, you gotta do this before the Lannisters start fucking up your shit. And you're like, no, not right now. It's like, by the time the ship gets to him and back, it's too late, my guy.
Yep.
Shit moves so fast here. The Lannisters are here.
Yep.
They are in the building. But he's like, well, I'll go to Littlefinger and be like, I know the secret Jon Arryn was murdered to protect. Joffrey and Tommen are Jaime Lannister's bastards. And then Littlefinger's like,
yep.
Shocking. He said in a voice that suggested it was not shocking at all. Yeah, the girl as well, no doubt. Yeah, and so it's like, by rights, it should go to Stannis, and he's like, he essentially, he wants Littlefinger to pay off the city watch to get them on his side.
Right.
And he, like, wants to say it, but he doesn't want to say it because it's like, you know, talking about bribing and doing all this political stuff. And then Littlefinger kind of like laughs at him and it's like, yeah, I know what you want.
It's also not a bribe. It's paying your your guards.
Yeah.
like you would be the rightful like the regent. Like that's not paying them off.
Right.
That's paying your soldiers.
Right. Yeah. But before that, Littlefinger's
also,
like,
with what money?
Yeah. Right.
With what money?
Yeah, it's like now you're gonna owe Littlefinger.
Right.
And like that, you know that's not good. But Littlefinger's like, hey, you know what you could do instead? You could you know, release the fucking Tyrion, and you can wed Joffrey to Sansa, wed your younger girl to Prince Tommen, and your heir to Myrcella. You can just like play nice with the Lannisters and not do all of this. It's like you can just choose to be friends with them.
Yep.
Just like apologize for the things you did, marry your families together, and just enjoy the power of the Lannisters. Actually, and Ned's like, they tried to kill my son, and Littlefinger's just like, okay, whatever. It's like, yes. For a moment, I forgot that, you know, you're Ned and that you would never do anything like that. So are we Stannis and war? It's not a choice. Stannis is the heir, because Ned's just like, but the law. Yeah. But the legality and it's like
the law only matters so much, you know, like if there's something there to enforce it, and there's like the structures that were enforcing it are all crumbling because the leadership is changing and such. The laws aren't really super stable right now.
Yeah, laws are created by the people and by these people specifically.
Exactly.
Like, you know, the laws don't exist abstract, you know, prima facie. It's like, yeah. So it's like, I want the City Watch. There's 2,000 of them. They're the gold cloaks. And, because the thing is, but when the queen proclaims one king and the hand another, whose peace do they protect? Right. You know, so it wants them to be on his side, but yeah, it's like, but yeah, if you're the rightful king, then it's not really bribery to pay them. Exactly. You know? Yeah.
And the Lannisters have a lot deeper of a pocket to pay them with.
Yep. And so Littlefinger goes to Janos Slynt, who's the head of the City Watch, the Gold Cloaks.
Got you. I don't think I ever paid attention to that name.
Yeah, that name will come up again, just like a couple times. Thank
you for drawing attention to it, because there was no memory of it.
Yeah, I think in like the next Ned chapter, we'll get his name dropped again as well. Got you. It's one of those names that just like from watching videos and stuff, I just like remember hearing. I think he'll show around. Yeah. But yeah, so that's that chapter. Do you have any other thoughts and stuff?
No, I don't think.
Yeah. And then we go on to Jon. We're back up at the wall with Jon, and they're about to be doing their, you know, like graduation, essentially.
Right. Saying their words.
Yep, we've been summoned to the Sept, and Sam's like, wow, they're making me a brother, can you believe it? And, and Jon's like, wow, really?
Wow, crazy!
Crazy, wow, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna help Maester Aemon in the library, isn't that great? And so they're getting ready for that. Yeah, and Mormont's just kind of like talking to them about how it's like, you know, you came to us as outlaws and children, rich and poor, and you know, some of you are lords, some of you are bastards, but it doesn't matter now. You're you know, we're all one house. We're the Night's Watch. And there's a lot of like focus put on that. You know, your crimes will be washed away, your debts forgiven. You got to put aside your old loyalties. Being part of the Night's Watch, it's for life. You do this for the realm and all the people in it. You know, it's you know, the sort of the ideals of the Night's Watch are very sort of like, we are a public service. Right. And, you know, you can be anyone here. You he asks like, oh, do any of you want to like leave? This is your last chance. Right. And he's like, do any of you keep the old gods? Jon's like, I do, my lord. Expect you want to say your words before a heart tree, as your uncle did. Yes, my lord. And then, to their surprise, Sam is also like, I want to do that.
And it's funny that they're like questioning it so much, because it's like, you just had a whole speech about like, giving up your loyalties and all that.
And there's me like, oh, why would you want to,
why would you want to do something outside of your
like, throw away your family's gods or whatever. Right. Yes, like, does House Tarly keep the old gods too? No, my lord. Why would you forsake the gods of your father and your house? Now, that's, it's not Mormont who says that part. It's one of the, like, other brothers.
Right.
But it's like, the Night's Watch is my house now. The Seven have never answered my prayers. Perhaps the old gods will.
Yeah.
And I just think that's interesting. Sam's just like, I mean, why not?
Right.
Might as well. My buddy Jon's gonna be doing it that way, so I'm gonna go do it with him. And they're like, oh yeah, out past the wall in the woods, there's some weirwoods out there, because down south,
right,
a lot of them have been like cut down and stuff, but like up north it's all just sort of wild like it was before people came and like cut the weirwoods down, so they're just kind of like wild out there.
Right. Because there's like a few comments on how like south, like they can't see south and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Asha or something that says that.
Yeah, I think it's Asha who says that. She's like, the weirwoods can't see down south because like the old gods can't see because the weirwoods aren't down there.
Right.
And they've got like the faces and whatnot.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that.
Yep, it's super interesting. But they're calling out like, because there's the rangers and the builders and the stewards, and they're sort of calling out like who's going to what. And various names, but like Pip, who's one of Jon's friends, ends up a ranger. I believe Gren, his other buddy, ends up a ranger. But Jon is a steward.
Right.
He gets they put the sorting hat on his head and it shouts steward. And, and he's like, the stewards? What the fuck?
He's not happy about that.
He's not happy, but it's like, I'm the best sword fighter and horse rider like in this group, so like why am I not a ranger? It's not fair. And other people are like, fair?
right
you know how shitty we've all had it.
Right.
And they're all like, oh, is there something wrong with being a steward? I thought you were supposed to be a fucking man of the Night's Watch.
Right.
And it's a whole thing.
Especially because he did the whole speech for Sam where he's like, everyone's like needed and such.
Yeah, but then as soon as it's him for the steward, he's like, wait a second, I don't want to fucking... Because it's like, oh, you'll be the Lord Commander's like personal steward. Right, it's like, I don't want to fucking,
just like wait on his every,
wait on all of his stuff, like, oh, fetch him wine and change his sheets and all that. But Sam is like, don't you see what they're doing? And he's like, oh, I think that Alistair, the guy who was like training them, that he's just trying to shame me, and
because he made like a face at him or whatever.
Yep. And Sam's like, no, he's trying to groom you for command. You're gonna be by his side like the whole time. You're gonna like, you're gonna like give him wine and change his sheets and whatnot, but you're also gonna write his letters.
Right.
You're gonna go to meetings with him. You're gonna, well, I mean, however many meetings that happen.
Yeah, just be around.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like, if he's like sort of coordinating things with other sort of like higher ups in the organization and whatnot. But yeah, he's like, and because he's talking about how growing up, his dad always had him go to stuff. He was like, he'd have me go to like go to like his council meetings and sit with him at like dinners and stuff. He wanted his heir at his side. That once the new kid came along, it was like him
started
instead.
Going to the
he started doing those things instead. It's like, he's grooming you for command, and then Jon says, I never asked for this. That's a little clip. The little clip of fucking Kit Harington. I never asked for this.
Yeah.
I hear that clip thrown around in videos and stuff, especially talking about how book Jon and show Jon are different.
Yeah, they're like, Is it because they're all so fucking young in the books? So, like, they're way too young.
Yep. Yeah, it's like, Jon here is still just, like, young and learning to, like, grow up.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he's 14 here, right?
Yeah, he's like 14 or something.
Yeah.
Like 14 or 15 or some shit. And, you know, being just, like, a fully grown adult as Kit Harington makes it a little bit different. But yeah, and, you know, it's like, I never asked for this. None of us are here for asking, Sam reminded him. And then Jon feels ashamed. He's like, feels bad for sort of like the stuff that he's done. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rob's 15.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, Jon's like, I was being kind of an ass there.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, all right, we're gonna go out, to that grove of weirwoods and say the words. And there's 9 weirwoods in like a circle with like the faces on them. You know, they've got 9 faces stared inward. The dryad sap crusted in their eyes was red and hard as ruby. And they're watching us, the old gods. And yeah, hear my words and bear witness to my vow. Night gathers, and now my watch begins. It shall not end until my death. I am the sword in the darkness. I am the catcher on the walls, or the watcher on the walls. I am the fire that burns against the cold, the light that brings to dawn, the horn that wakes the sleepers, the shield that guards the realms of men. So, you know, now their watch begins.
Yeah.
They're fully and properly members of the Night's Watch. You know, you knelt as boys, now rise as men of the Night's Watch. And then, you know, they went out in the woods, and he had brought Ghost with him.
Right.
And Ghost was like out running around, and then Ghost comes back, and he's got a hand in his mouth.
Yeah.
And they're like, what the fuck? So it's like this chapter. It's like a nice little like Jon learning and growing, and going and saying the words. Like, I've been waiting for like him and Sam to go take their words together, because I really love Sam and Jon as friends.
Yeah.
And Sam being like, well, I'll go do my words with him because, you know, he's my friend. And
right.
What the fuck do I care about the 7, you know? It's just kind of sweet. And then Ghost shows up with a hand. Right at the end.
Here you go. You wanted this, right?
You wanted this, right? like a cat with a bird. Just like, here you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that. Yeah. Anything else you got for this chapter?
I don't think so.
Yeah. And immediately back to Ned.
Yeah.
Had a brief old Jon interlude. It's like, you know, things
like King's Landing, cut to Jon, back to King's Landing for like a while.
Yeah, because like the next few chapters, like the next ones are like Arya and Sansa and
it's
stuff.
Just basically like what everyone else is going through.
Yep.
In King's Landing.
Because this is the chapter where shit starts happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, why hasn't Cersei fled? I've given her every chance, dumbass. Yeah.
I can't scream because there's a microphone, but like, oof.
No, you can scream.
Right, it'll
the compression will
just
help.
Like, ah.
Yeah. Yeah, you might not want to scream more for my ear than for the microphone. But yeah, and so he's with Arya and Sansa, and Arya's like, oh, I'm gonna have one last dancing lesson with Syria before we go. And Sansa's like, can't I go see Joffrey? And he's like, no, it wouldn't be safe right now.
Right.
And she's like, why? And he's like, doesn't explain.
That's the other thing. He explains things to his male children.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of his issues also, like...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, if he kind of, like, trusted his daughters a little bit more.
Right.
And, like, sort of, like, treated them a bit more like he treated his sons.
Yeah.
That would also have, like, kind of helped him out here.
Right. Because Sansa's just so lost and confused and just, like... I love her. Like, I've always like really liked Sansa, and I just feel so bad for her constantly. Like throughout all of her, just like she's just constantly like rationalizing and trying to like make everything perfect, and just like you know, and she takes it out. Like I love Arya, and she takes it out on Arya, which like sucks. but I just want to give Sansa a big hug and
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
and just give her a pony and just like
Yep.
and some chocolate and like
Yeah.
and 3 teddy bears and just like a quilt and just wrap her up by the fire and just sit her there.
Yeah. Just keep listing things.
Right? I was like, I could keep going on. I just want
Yeah, we just want nice things for her. Yeah.
I don't know where I was going. I just got
Yeah, no, you just got wrapped up in it. Yeah, because it's like because later we end up
like there's
finding out some.
She does like she doesn't mean to. Like if her dad like if she was told stuff and maybe she wouldn't have dealt with it well. But like if you would have kept her informed more from the beginning and stuff.
Right. Oh yeah, and it's like he does have some sense of like, oh, it's not safe to talk about these things right now with her.
Right.
But it's like, but you talk about them with like Littlefinger.
Right.
So like, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? Like, oh, someone could be listening or whatever. Someone like you've said so many things that other people could have like heard. You know, you could have explained it to her.
Oh yeah.
You know, in some fashion, or like, you know, pulled her aside somewhere private if you're really like worried. You
right.
know?
And like it's not weird like spy like type of stuff. It's not weird seeing like you taking your kid aside and talking to them. You know, like that's not a suspicious meeting. You know.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't blame Sansa.
No.
Like, I know how she could blame herself.
Right.
Like, in the future, maybe. I don't blame her at all. Like, she doesn't know.
Right.
Like...
But yeah, and so Ned finally, he gets the word, officially, from Grandmaster Pycelle that the king is dead. Robert is gone. The gods give him rest. No, he hated rest. The gods give him love and laughter and the joy of righteous battle.
Yeah.
Valhalla! You know?
Yep.
Yeah. It was strange how empty he felt. He had been expecting the visit, and yet, with those words, something died within him.
Yeah.
He would have given all of his titles for the freedom to weep, but he was Robert's hand, and the hour he dreaded had come. Ned is just, like, Ned... It really just goes through it in this book. Yeah. Like, Ned is just absolutely put through the ringer emotionally.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Ned makes a bunch of dumb decisions.
As much as I shit on him.
It's just, like, you can't help but feel bad for him, because he's just trying so hard to do what he believes is right.
Right.
You know?
And that's the tragedy of it, you know, that he, you know, like... He is the most honorable of them, and he like at every turn, you know, makes decisions that, you know, causes his demise.
Yep. He tried so hard.
Yep.
And got so far. But in the end,
doesn't even matter.
Because fucking Renly left the city. And he's like, left the city? So much for Renly and his 100 swords.
I don't know why he thought that I don't know why he was, like, banking on that. He told him straight out, no, we're not doing that. And then he's just like, oh, yeah, but that's, like, still the plan, though. He still has that as his, like, plan.
Yep.
I don't know. You didn't communicate that with him.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he's like, all right, well, I gotta go to the council and be like...
No, you gotta run.
Yeah. He's like, I want to go to the council, and they're gonna like proclaim me as the thing.
Renly's gone? No, okay, you gotta run.
You gotta run. You gotta limp as fast as you can to your people and go.
God.
But he's like, I'm gonna
get to Arya. She'll be your bodyguard.
Right. Like, he's like, I want to go to the council, and we're gonna like get me fucking instated. Like, here's the letter and all that. But then the stewards are like, hey, the king demands your presence before the Iron Throne. He's like, the king is dead, but they're like, you gotta come anyway. And so then, like, oh, there's Janos Slynt with his black and gold plate, the commander of the Gold Cloaks, and also, you know, Joffrey's up on the throne.
Right.
And all the Gold Cloaks are around, as well as, you know, the King's Guard and all that. And Joffrey is sitting up there, and Sandor's also there. You know, it's like all the sort of Lannister folks are there, and Joffrey stands up, I command the council to make all the necessary arrangements for my coronation. I wish to be crowned within the fortnight. And and then it's like, no, I have this letter. And the queen's like, protector of the realm, she read. Is this meant to be your shield, my lord? A piece of paper. She ripped the letter in half, ripped the halves in quarters, and let the pieces flutter to the floor. Those were the king's words, Sir Barristan said, shocked. We have a new king now, Cersei Lannister replied. Because Barristan, who's like commander of the King's Guard, I think, of like the White Cloaks. I think he was kind of like the head of them.
Gotcha.
He was at least like the oldest member there.
Yeah.
He's like, one of these like, you know, sort of like one of the last like great knights of the like old age, essentially.
Right.
And he's also been kind of like on Ned's side a lot of the time.
Right.
He's also been very sort of like honor and duty and all this kind of stuff. And so whenever like Cersei's like rips up the he's like
pretty much the only one that like really cares.
Yeah. Because all the other White Cloaks are just like on Joffrey's side, you know, because like, yeah, whatever. But he's like, but what?
right.
And then Cersei's like, bend the knee, my lord, bend the knee and swear fealty to my son, and we shall allow you to step down his hand and live out your days in the grey waste you call home. Your son has no claim to the throne. He sits. Lord Stannis is Robert's true heir. Liar! Joffrey screams.
Yeah,
and...
at that point, she's giving you an opportunity to leave. Like, just take it.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like Joffrey sucks, and like Cersei, like that sucks. But here's the thing: you have no allies in the city. Go home, get your allies. And then put the rightful heir on the throne. Do not do it in front of enemies.
Yeah, it's like you've already lost here.
Yeah.
And like, you know,
you've got to take a strategic retreat, and then you can come back with your armies.
Bend the knee, swear fealty, and
like,
then
whatever, and then get the fuck out.
Go home.
But fealty means something to him.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Exactly. And so he's just like, nope. Yep. Sir Barristan sees this traitor. Yeah, because Sir Barristan sees this traitor. The Lord Commander of the King's Guard hesitated. In the blink of an eye, he was surrounded by Stark guardsmen. So it's like, yeah, he was the commander of the Knight's Guard. And like, it's like, Barristan, get him. And he like freezes up.
Yeah.
Because he's like, wait, this isn't right. And then the Stark guards are like, fucking shit's hitting the fan. And they all just start dying.
Yeah.
Because the Gold Cloaks, guess what? They were on Littlefinger's side, not your side.
Yep.
And Littlefinger was not on your side.
Nope.
He, yep.
And he said that at every occasion. Like, don't trust me. Don't trust me.
Don't trust me.
Don't trust me. But I think Ned read that as, like...
just sort of like a generic lesson on like not trusting people in like a game of, you know, the Game of Thrones
but I think
sense.
he almost saw it as like a, like, not quite reverse psychology, but like he's like like just...
Because it's like Littlefinger's always kind of like joking and quipping.
Right.
And he's like, but like my wife. But like you have like this like love for my wife and like you're supposed to be like on my side kind of and help me out. It's like, oh, don't trust me. And it's like, yeah, you're always fucking
right. You're always
saying shit and, you know, being like, oh, I'm an idiot and, you know, this kind of shit.
Yeah, I think like that.
A bit like that, yeah. As his men died around him, Littlefinger slid Ned's dagger from his sheath and shoved it up under his chin. He smiled. His smile was apologetic. I did warn you not to trust me, you know. Yeah, and you read that as him like...
I read that as Ned dying, straight up.
Yeah. Yep. Because, yeah. But yeah, that's that.
Yep.
Fucking... You lost, Ned.
Yeah.
And you should have just like taken the L and gone home, and then you can muster your forces, like you said. But no,
you lost like 4 or 5 different times.
Yeah.
You lost when Catelyn was doing her
doing her
nonsense.
fuck shit.
You lost when you backed her up. You lost. Like.
Yeah. But
you lost when you told Cersei. That's like probably one of the biggest.
That's probably one of the biggest for sure. But yeah, that's the chapter. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Alright, we cut over to Arya, who's having her final practice with Syrio Forel. They're fighting, he's like shouting out directions. He's like, right, low, left.
Yeah.
You know, and
then does like the opposite of one of the ones that he shouts out.
Yep, he's like shouting, and then he says left, and then it came from the wrong side. A bruise is a lesson, and each lesson makes us better. You are dead now. You cheated. You said left, and you went right. Just so. And now you are a dead girl.
And he's like, no, I said one thing, but my eyes and my sword and like this or whatever said the opposite. So like you should have been listening to that and not what I was saying.
Yep. You were not seeing. I watched you every second. Watching is not seeing, dead girl.
Yep.
The water dancer sees. You know how? And then he's like, I was the first sword of the Sea Lord. Are you knowing how that came to pass? Other men were stronger, faster, younger. Why was Syrio Forel the best? And then he tells the story about how the Sea Lord had this cat. He had all these like crazy animals that he had like gotten from all over the place, and then he had this cat. And whenever he went to go see the Sea Lord, he was like, have you ever seen a creature like this? And it's like, yes, all the time. and it's like, you know, other people, they flatter.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be like a special cat or whatever, so they were trying to be like, oh, no,
yes.
oh yeah, I can see, it's like bigger, or it's like fur is better, or this,
you know,
or
it's
whatever.
ears or whatever, and it's like, no, it's like, you know, looking at it, you can see it's just a regular cat.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. Yeah, the others expected to see a fabulous beast, so that was what they saw. Yeah, you saw what was there. The heart lies, the head plays tricks with us, but the eyes see true. Then comes the thinking afterward, and in that way, knowing the truth. So it's like, see first.
Yeah.
Think, you know, you got to take it all in, and then you got to consider every sort of part of it.
Right.
And Arya's excited, and she's like, wait till I show Jon. You know, the things you say before terrible stuff starts happening.
Always, yeah.
Some folks show up. Sir Meryn Trant, one of the, like, a Knight of the Kingsguard, Sir Meryn Trant, he shows up, and it's like, Arya, come with us. And it's like, your father wants you. And Syrio Forel's like, why is it that Lord Eddard is sending Lannister men in the place of his own, I am wondering. And
right, because Arya was also a little like, I don't know, what's happening?
Yep, and so then they have a little moment of, like, kind of talking about it, and Arya was suddenly afraid. Fear cuts deeper than swords. And this guy's like, coming for him. Syrio Forel steps between them. Are you men or dogs that would threaten a child? And then they start fighting. You are quick for a dancing master. You are slow for a knight.
Right.
And kill the Braavosi, bring me the girl. And so then Syrio starts beating the shit out of these knights with just his wooden sword. It's like got a lead core and then like wood around it. And he just starts beating the shit out of these knights, even with just a wooden sword. Yeah,
but Arya's like realizes that he won't be able to like last for very long in this like
in this environment with all these people, and he tells like her to run. 5 men were down, dead or dying by the time Arya reached the back door that opened on the kitchen. And then she's like, watching. Arya, child, be gone now. Look with your eyes, he had said. He saw the knight in his pale armor, and his cruel steel in hand. Against that, Syrio in leather vest and a wooden sword. Syrio, run. The first sword of Braavos does not run. And they do fight for a little bit, but then the sword like cuts completely through Syrio's sword, and then Arya turns and runs. So we don't like see him die per se, but we see like his sword, his like practice sword gets like cut in half, and that's when she like runs. Yep. All that Syrio had taught her went racing through her head. Swift as a deer, quiet as a shadow, fear cuts deeper than swords. Quick as a snake, calm as still water, fear cuts deeper than swords. Strong as a bear, fierce as a wolverine, fear cuts deeper than swords. The man who fears losing has already lost. Fear cuts deeper than swords, fear cuts deeper than swords, fear cuts deeper than swords. So I like that little bit where just like the fear cuts deeper than swords keeps like repeating throughout them. Never do what they expect, Syrio once said. She had to find her father. Her father would protect her, and it's like, doesn't know yet that, like, you know, what's going on. And, you know, of course, she's so young that, of course, it's like, well, my dad.
Right,
you know, I gotta go get my dad. Yep. And so she's like running throughout the place, trying to get away. If one hand can die, why not a second? And she gets afraid.
Yeah.
It was no good pretending to be a water dancer. Syria had been a water dancer, and the White Knight had probably killed him. She pretended she was chasing cats, except she was the cat now, and if they caught her, they would kill her.
Yeah.
And she then comes across some of... she gets, like, the Tower of the Hand, and, like, her dad's guards are, like, dead and dying.
Yeah.
And one of them is still alive enough to say, you must warn your Lord Father... one of the corpses was Desmond, who'd shown her his longsword and promised to protect her father. Close to him was a dead man in the red cloak and lion crest helm of the Lannisters. Only one, though. Every northerner is worth 10 of these Southron swords, Desmond had told her. You liar, she said, kicking his body in a sudden fury. She's just like, so upset.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yep. It's just like... These next couple chapters are just and then everything falls down around them. It's like everything falls down around Ned, and then Arya's training gets interrupted and she's having to like run through the castle. She ends up finding the place that she wound up before with like the skulls.
Because she's like, I need a different way to get out of the city, like I can't get through the gates or whatever or something. She tries to find where she was at before.
Yep. And she does end up, because she ends up at the stables for a little bit.
Right, yeah, she goes there first.
She goes there first, and the stable boy is gonna like try and catch her and turn her into the queen. He's like, Father's dead, it's the queen who'll be rewarding me. And he like grabs her, and everything Syria Forel had ever taught her vanished in a heartbeat. In that instant of sudden terror, the only lesson Arya could remember was the one Jon Snow had given her, the very first. She stuck him with the pointy end.
Yep.
Yep. And she fucking kills this kid. Yep. Just right through him. He goes, take it out. She took it out, and then, he died.
Yep.
Because, that's what happens
when you take out a
thing that's impaled you.
Yep.
And she's like, oh fuck, she has to run away, and she's like, I gotta get out. They probably won't, maybe they won't recognize me, because that's happened before.
Right.
But she's like, well, shit's going crazy right now. They're not gonna let anyone out. And so then she has to go find the secret passage. Again, that she had been before.
Yeah, and then to get there, she's gotta like cross like an open section or whatever. So she's like trying to like walk like steady and not like she's like rushing and all that.
Yeah, not look like she's like running and panicked and all that jazz, which is interesting. And she's running. This time the monsters did not frighten her. They seemed like old friends. Dragons, she whispered. Somehow Arya felt better with steel in her hand. Yep. And she's going through, and she like remembers, she has this like memory of being a kid and going down in the crypts and...
Right, and Jon scaring her.
They like covered Jon in flour to make him white and then having him pop out as like a ghost. And it's scaring like her and Bran. And everything would be better once she was home again, safe behind Winterfell's gray granite walls. Yeah. And that's the end of the chapter.
Yep.
Yeah, that chapter, it's a lot of just like...
She's like kind of running around.
This like action of like Arya like running and she's being chased and she's gotta like find her way out and whatnot, and it's very like tense, and it's like and thus begins all of the shit, because like Arya gets away. Right. Like Arya like
because their stories like kind of, like really massively diverge here. Like I don't know a ton of the later stuff that happens in the series. Like I know a few other like big things, but like after this book, I know a lot less of like
sort of like where everyone is and what's going on with them and stuff. Yeah.
But like Sansa like staying with the Queen and the Lannisters and all of that, and then Arya running off like just escaping into nowhere.
Yep, because we're about to get to Sansa's to Sansa's chapter.
I just want to give her a hug.
Yeah. All right. So that's anything else for Arya's chapter here before we move on?
No.
Yeah, Sansa's chapter, they came for Sansa on the third day.
Yeah.
And we sort of go through, like, the 3 days of her sort of, like, first getting sort of, like, put in this room.
Yep, and then, like, hearing stuff going on, and then Jane getting put in there.
Yep,
and...
Jane Poole.
Yeah.
Ah, Jane Poole. Poor Jane Poole.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to her, but I feel like she's dead.
Yeah, she...
Or something, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's like her dad's dead.
Right.
And then it's like, because they just like shove Jane Poole in there, and she's like, they're all dying out there.
Yeah, and
it's
like
crazy.
Well, because then Cersei's like, why? Like, who put her in there with Sansa? Because she's trying to keep Sansa like as friendly to the Lannisters as possible. So she's like, you're introducing like fear and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, oh, relocate Jane Poole. I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like,
oh
what
yeah.
What the fuck are you doing to her?
Yeah, because then whenever she goes back to her room, it's like Jane's
she's
just gone, and it's just like, what happened
and
to
it's
her?
really sad because then she's like, oh, I'm all alone, because like they were like sleeping together, because it was just like,
Yeah, because she was like, because the thing is, at first she's kind of like annoyed by Jane Poole, because she's like.
she's like, she still thinks something about like how she thinks it's like good to not be alone or whatever.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Yeah. She does think about how it's good to not be alone, but she's also like, she's always like crying and stuff.
Yeah.
She's such a baby.
Yeah. She's like, I have it like all together and stuff like that.
Yep. She's trying to sort of be grown up in this way.
She's just panicking.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's because she's still trying to like hold on to this idea that like everything's gonna be okay somehow.
As long as I am the perfect little, the
like perfect little girl.
And then everything will be okay. Like, no, like, nothing can happen to me. Like, she uses that as, like, armor.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. And yeah, so it's like... And she keeps, like, each day when they, like, bring them, like, food and stuff, she's begging, like, just let me talk to the queen.
Yep.
Just let me talk to the queen. I'm sure she'll want to...
want to talk to me.
Want to talk to me and all this sort of stuff. And then it's like, at some point they hear, like, the bells ringing. It's like, the king is dead. The king is dead. Sansa could not say how she knew it, yet she did. Had some enemies storm the castle and murdered King Robert. Was that the meaning of the fighting they had heard? Because she doesn't really know what's going on.
Anything.
Was her beautiful Joffrey the king now, or had they killed him too?
Yeah. Yeah,
and then the next morning, the morning of the third day, Sir Boros Blunt of the King's Guard came to escort her to the Queen. Sir Boros was an ugly man, and then they describe him. You look very handsome and splendid this morning, Sir Boros. And you, my lady, Sir Boros said in a flat voice. He's like, alright, come on. Because like she's still just trying to hold on to this like courtly, Sansa is like
persona. Well, not even persona. Like she really believes in it.
She does, and it's so interesting because I was like going through and reading this and thinking about this, like Sansa as like a child of the courts, who's like so interested in the courts. It's like she knows like the proper courtly procedure stuff, but she doesn't know the sort of like same kind of like harsh realities that like Ned does,
right?
About things
and like the full political aspects because she sees the party, the jewelry, like that, like the like romantic aspect of like courtly life, but not the politics that it's like on top of.
Right, exactly. And so then whenever it's like all of this shit starts happening, it's sort of like the harsh, brutal like bloodshed part of politics
is invading the courtly.
Yes. And sort of like seeing like rub up against Sansa, who just keeps trying to keep this like courtly sort of veneer up, because it's like it's what she knows.
In a similar way to the way her dad holds on to honor.
Yep.
And like the law and that type of stuff.
As this like shield. It's like, well, this is what I know how to do.
Because I was thinking about her more like her mom, but I don't think that's quite right.
Yeah, I think it's like she's got like she's gotten things from both of them. I
love Sansa. Like,
and it's like, and the thing is that like Ned has done her a disservice by not, because it's like
not preparing her,
because the boys know more about this than she does,
right?
And in like, that sense,
and so, honestly, like Arya, like
Arya's like, oh, this is bad, and I gotta go,
right? Because like she kind of had that like that personality to like go off, and so he like didn't baby her, and he like. I think he sees Arya, like, as more similar to his sons. He, like, doesn't quite, like, treat her the same, but, like...
Yeah, and it's also, like, we get this sense that Lyanna was kind of like Arya.
Right, so then, like...
It's sort of like... seeing her that way, but Sansa likes all of the, like, proper
Right.
lady stuff, so it's easy to just, like...
It's oh, let's just keep her safe and, like...
Mm-hmm. But by doing
not
that...
let her know.
Yeah, but by doing that now, when this stuff starts happening and Sansa's, like, a part of it, and they're like... Here, write a letter to your family telling them our this version of events.
Yep.
She gets totally played because Cersei's being just so...
Oh, yes. I mean, Cersei's being, like... Cersei's great with her and stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, manipulating and, like...
And just, like, the way that Cersei's, like, warm to her and then cold and then warm and just, like, utterly playing her.
Gives her the attention that she wants, but holds it just out of reach to get, like, all of it, the full acceptance.
Yeah.
Like, we could give you this acceptance, but I don't know, like...
And the way that, like, fucking Pycelle and stuff, like, plays into it.
Yeah.
Just like, they say that traitors, and it's just such bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, he's like...
It's an 11-year-old little kid. Just, like, jerking her around, like you have her father, like... just, yeah.
Yep, and Sansa's like, everyone has been so sweet and pleasant, Your Grace. Thank you ever so much for asking.
Yeah.
Just, like, putting on this, like, everything's fine, everything's fine. It would be rude to say that, like, I'm terrified and all this shit's going on. Would you tell us what's happened? You put the steward girl in with her, yeah. And what's interesting is, like, they're all being so shitty to her. And, they're like, she's gonna be like her father and be like a traitor or whatever. And then we actually get, like, Littlefinger over there in the corner doing his thing. It's like...
Is he the one who put Jane in with her?
I don't know.
Because, like, I feel like for some reason I got that out of this chapter.
Gotcha.
That it was almost like a slight or like a something.
It could be.
For some reason I was thinking it was Littlefinger, but maybe it was... someone else and she was just mad at whoever put Jane in there.
Yeah.
But I remember in that conversation about it.
Right. Yeah, because all we get is the only time the door opened was late that night when they thrust Jane Poole inside. But it's not, like, specified, like, who.
Right.
And, like, whether or not they would have been,
because then later Sansa mentions Jane said blank, said this or whatever. And then Cersei's like, how did you know that? What do you mean Jane was in there? Right.
And that comes from... I have it here. Sir Boros, one of the, like...
Right.
White Cloaks, he's like, we put the steward's girl in with her, we did not know what else to do with her.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's like, maybe he was told that by someone, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Okay. Littlefinger's like, she reminds me of the mother, not the father, Peter Baelish said quietly. Look at her, the hair, the eyes, she is the very image of Cat at the same age. So he's still doing, like, that kind of shit, but he's not playing in with their whole, like, oh, she's like her father and gonna be, like, a traitor kind of thing, which is just kind of, like, an interesting little...
Yeah, I thought that he might have been one of the kind of good cops.
Yeah.
Because he does have his own thing, but, like, he knows Cat, so, like, she's partially familiar with him, like, at least knows of him as a friendly face. Right. He's the one delivering, you know, like, the positivity to you could be a traitor. Well, she's more like her mom than her dad, so maybe she's not a traitor. Just giving that...
That makes a lot of sense, yeah. Yeah, she's like, I'm not like Arya. She has the traitor's blood, not me. Yeah. I'm good. Ask Septa Mordain.
And, like, that... it's so brutal, and it feels, like, horrible. But, like, it's such a just, like... I think defense mechanism and just like
yeah, it's like she's like
if Arya would have done all of this perfectly, like if she was perfect like me, it would have been like
because it's also like she's fucking 11 years old. It's one of those
things... I don't blame like any
it's one of those things where like I don't remember exactly how, because like this doesn't happen quite like this in the show. I don't remember how it goes, but it's like it's easier to be sort of mad at show Sansa for some of these behaviors.
Got you.
Because she's like more of an adult woman. Or at least like a late teenager. But when it's like, she's just like 11 years old. Yeah. It's like, of course she's not taking this well.
I also really liked Sansa on the show.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it's like, Sansa in the show is still good. It's just like, some of these kinds of behaviors that do carry over to her character.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because she's a little bit older.
Yeah.
In the show. Like, I think 14 or something.
I mean, maybe. I mean, like...
13. That's because I looked it up earlier.
Yeah, because but it's sort of like...
Oh, yeah, but the actress is...
Like, the actress
like,
is,
a little older.
Is like, older than that, and so it's sort of like, you know... You see a lot of these kids as, like, kind of older than they even what their aged-up selves are in the show, because they're played by, like, Kit Harington and shit, you know? But yeah.
Like, how old was Sophie Turner when
she started that role?
Because, like, I think she was fairly young.
Yeah.
Like, not as young as the, like...
Yeah. But yeah, and so she has her, like, write to them and be like, you must tell them how Lord Eddard betrayed his king. But he never... Your Grace, I wouldn't know what to say. Because, like, she wants to, like, disagree and be like, no, but he'd never. But then she's like, but I can't, you know,
go against it.
And, you know.
And if I, like, argue too much for it, they're already calling me a traitor. So, like, you know.
Yep. And then she's like, you know, bid them to come to King's Landing and pledge their fealty to Joffrey when he takes his throne. If they do that, why, then we shall know that there is no taint in your blood, and when you come into the flower of your womanhood, you shall wed the king in the great sept of Baelor.
Yeah, she was 14 in season 1.
Really?
Sophie Turner.
Gotcha.
Because I thought they were pretty young.
I didn't realize, like, how young she actually was at that time.
Because it's filmed over so long.
It is, and so I'm just, like...
So the later seasons, they're, like, so much older.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, like, late season.
But, like, early season, like, especially, like, her, like, Arya, like, they're all pretty young. Like, Kit Harington isn't, though. So that's what, like...
Yeah.
Like, a little, so it, like, kind of does...
It skews it a little bit, yeah. Yeah, because, like, I forget how long ago that, like, it actually, like, started.
Yeah.
Because it actually, like, the show started when I was in, like, high school. I think. Like, the later...
Filming for season 1 began in 2010.
Yeah.
So...
Wow. Jeez,
right.
That's 15 years ago. Dear Lord. Oh my god. But yeah, she's like, Sansa's like, perhaps if I might see my father, talk to him about treason.
Right. It's just like...
It's like, oh, you disappoint me, Sansa. It's like, I only meant he's not been hurt or...
And she knows that disappointment is, like, you know, a big thing for her, you know.
And Cersei says that Lord Eddard has not been harmed.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily believe that.
Like, straight up, I don't remember how this all happens.
Yeah.
Like, with Ned here. Fully, like, thought that Littlefinger, like, stabbed him in the throat. In that last bit. And then the stable boy was like, he's dead. And then the only thing saying that he wasn't harmed is Cersei, who I don't trust. So, like, I was just like,
he's, like, dead.
I think he's dead.
Right. See, because, like, in my head, I just, like, have like the scene of it so clear from like the show especially that I'm just like, no, but like obviously but yeah, this
is when it came out in 2011 season 1.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because like that's like early high school.
Yeah, for me it was like slightly, I mean, because like I'm a year younger than you. But yeah, and then
it's like sophomore year of high school. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
So like Sansa does think, you know, that maybe, you know, Dad will just get like exiled.
Right.
I was gonna send him back to Winterfell or exile him to one of the free cities across the Narrow Sea. It would only have to be for a few years, and then
because that was offered.
Yeah, it's true.
To Winterfell.
Yep. Only if Mother and Robb did anything treasonous, you know.
Right.
Then, you know. So I have to write them to
protect my family.
To protect my family, you know. Because they've set it up in this way for her, you know. I'll write the letter. And we find out in this chapter that she, despite what her dad said, did go to Joffrey and be like, hey, we're like about to be leaving. Yeah. And so that's part of why they sort of like struck right when they did.
And I don't blame her. He didn't explain why she shouldn't go to Joffrey and all of that.
You know, like from her perspective, it's just like
he's just
everything's fine.
Yeah. And Arya gets to go and do her thing. And, like, why does she get everything and I get nothing? And I just, like...
I'm just, like, all I'm doing is saying goodbye to him. Yeah. You know? It's, like, what's the big deal?
Yeah,
and,
no,
like,
that makes so much more sense. Like, I have zero blame for Sansa.
Yep. And then,
Only hugs.
Yep. And then whenever they take her back to the room, Jane's gone. And,
I'm very worried, like...
Yeah. Yet somehow it seemed colder with Jane gone, even after she built a fire.
Yeah. I'm also slightly worried she, like, gave Jane to, like, Peter Baelish. And I'm not a fan of that either.
Yeah. Yep. It was not until late that night, as she was shifting off to sleep, that Sansa realized she had forgotten to ask about her sister. Yeah. They've it's so sad.
Yeah.
It's like those last 3 chapters. It's all just everything goes wrong.
Yeah.
And then we're like, and back to Jon.
Yeah.
So that's everything for Sansa. Do you got any thoughts or anything else to say?
No, I don't think so.
Alrighty. And back to Jon. And we're doing a little murder mystery.
Yeah.
Othor announced Sir Jeremy Riker. Beyond a doubt, this one was Jafer Flowers, and they were Ben Stark's men, both of them.
Right, because they went to go like.
Yeah, there were a couple who went like outranging with Ben and his group that hasn't come back yet.
So they went out like with a big group to go like check, like investigate.
Who?
Is this like he went with them? Because I was trying to figure out like where exactly he was like
where they found these guys.
Yeah. Oh no, he came back with the hand.
Yeah.
Right. My brain,
Ghost had the hand.
I went crazy. Don't listen to me.
Right.
I went no.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Ghost had the hand, and so then
I just forgot where we were.
Yeah. Yeah, so they found a couple of Benjen's men, which has everyone like, that's doesn't bode well, perhaps, but
and Jon's still like, yeah, but like we didn't find his body, so like,
and he's like, my uncle's men, gods, I was such a green boy. If he had taken me, I might be lying here. And he has dreams. He's talking about last night he had dreamt of Winterfell and the crypts, and the dead kings came stumbling from their cold black graves. It was only a dream. I'm a brother of the Night Watch now. I'm not a frightened boy. And Sam's like, I don't want to look at the bodies, and he's like, you gotta look at the bodies. Maester Aemon sent you to be his eyes. What good are his eyes if they're shut? And he's like, go on, you can look. You're safe. We're all here with you. And so that Ben Stark had 6 men with him. And it's like, where are the others? Don't know. But they're dead here. And Mormont's like, what the fuck? These guys are not even that far from the wall. And they're dead.
Right.
How we haven't we been looking?
Right.
Haven't we been like?
How didn't we find them?
How did we not find them? And they don't. The bodies don't smell. They like they seem like they died recently. But Sam's like, but clearly
the blood is
like the blood is like all thick. It's not like it's fresh or even like a day old or whatever.
Yeah.
And also like there's not blood around. Like if they died here, then why isn't there blood all around? And so they're like, okay, so it seems like maybe like their bodies got moved. Like they were killed and then their bodies got moved. Right. And they're like, is it wildlings? Is it Mance Rayder? Like what's going on?
Right.
And yeah, might be they didn't die here. Might be someone brought them and left them for us, as sort of like a warning, as like maybe the wildlings did it to be a little bit like, a warning or like
like, hey, stay out or something like that.
Yeah. And also they have blue eyes. The bodies have.
And they didn't originally have.
Have blue eyes. and silence fell over the wood. For a moment, all they heard was Sam's heavy breathing and the wet sound of someone sucking their teeth. Burn them, someone whispered.
Yeah.
Yes, burn them, a second voice urged.
Yeah, but then they take them back.
Yep, not yet. I want Maester Aemon to have a look at them. We'll bring them back to the wall. So Mormont is like, no. We gotta take them back. We gotta have Maester Aemon check them out. We gotta like do some research. But he's like, I want these woods searched.
Right.
We need to be on the lookout.
Yeah, you're right about the going from politics to King's Landing to the wall. These guys are dead, and they now have blue eyes, and this is weird. Guys, this is weird.
Yep, this is weird, man.
Also, do you remember the prologue? Also,
do you remember the prologue? I remember the prologue of the story. In that darkness, the others came riding. Cold and dead they were. They hated iron and fire and the touch of the sun, and every living creature with hot blood in its veins, leading hosts of the slain. And so, like...
It's very fey.
Yes, Jon is thinking about this, and people have said these feel very sort of like fey in that way, which is...
Because fey's always, like, iron and fire.
Yeah.
Normally, like, salt? Sometimes.
Yeah, I think salt's also sometimes part of it. And Mormont's like, you did well back there, Sam and Jon.
Yeah, pulled, like, Sam aside.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, was it with Jon or, like, aside from Jon, too? Or it was just like...
Yeah, Jon saw...
Like, personally.
Yeah, he's just like, Tarly, come here.
Yeah,
brings him over.
yeah. Because he was, like, worried he was gonna get in trouble or whatever. And
yeah.
He's like, you did well.
You're fat, but you're not stupid, boy. You did well back there. And you, Snow. Yep. And
which, like, that's, like, the best compliment you're gonna get.
Yeah, around here, yep. Yep. And then, they're coming back, and there's a horn blast. Yeah. One blast meant rangers returning, and Jon thought, I was a ranger for one day at least. Yeah. Whatever may come, they cannot take that away from me. So, you know, he's like, I gotta have my little little ranger adventure out here, you know. And then whenever he gets back, Pip's like, the king's dead.
Right.
How do you know that? Like, I overheard them talking about it.
And then, like, everyone's looking at him and stuff.
Everyone's looking at him. And he also has a moment where he thinks to himself, I will ask him about my mother. He resolved, I am a man now. It is past time, he told me. Even if she was a whore, I don't care, I want to know. But then it's like, Mormont is like, hey, come to my room. And it's like, sit, have a drink.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, I got this letter. and your dad, he's been imprisoned, charged with treason. Said he plotted with Robert's brothers to deny the throne to Prince Joffrey. My father would never betray the king. That's not for me to say, nor for you. But it's a lie. Yeah. And it's like, what's going to happen to him? I can't say. Whatever your father's done or hasn't done, he is a great lord. He must be allowed to take the black and join us here. God's knows we need men of Lord Eddard's ability. And then he's thinking like, my dad here?
Yeah.
That was a strange thought. And uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that'd be weird. Can you imagine? Ned just gets sent to the wall with Jon, and they're just both fucking Night's
Honestly,
Watch.
I'm sure that would be quite good. It would have been good for the Night's Watch, probably, to have Ned.
It probably would have been good for the Night's Watch to have Ned, and
not for the Stark family necessarily, but it would be, you know, like...
Yeah.
I think Robb and Catelyn could probably...
Do alright.
Maybe.
Yeah. Ned on the Night's Watch would be interesting, especially having to, like, be there with Jon.
Yeah, that would be weird.
It would certainly be weird. But yeah. Oh yeah, because then Jeor Mormont, he's like, which they often just call him the Old Bear. Yeah, a boy king. I imagine he'll listen to his mother. I pity the dwarf isn't with them. He's the lad's uncle. He saw our need when he visited us. It's a bad thing, your lady mother.
Yeah.
Taking him captive. Lady Stark is not my mother.
Yep.
Yep.
He's like, I don't know what the fuck she's doing.
Yep. And then he's like, I hope you're not thinking of doing anything stupid, boy. Your duty's here now. Your old life ended when you took the black. And then he's like, alright, you can go. And tomorrow you can help me write a letter back.
Yeah.
And he's walking, he's got Ghost with him, and he thinks about how the girls don't even have their wolves with them. He's like, their wolves might have kept them safe, but Lady is dead and Nymeria is lost.
Yeah, and he's thinking, like, going south is, like, stupid and never should have, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, no one should ever go down there.
Yep, yeah. It's a bad place. And then he's like, sees that everyone's like looking at him, and you know, like the stuff about his dad, and then Pip and Gren are, you know, they're being nice, as well as Sam. They're like, you're my brother now, so he's my father too. If if you want to go to the weirwoods and pray to the old gods, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, no, they're lying. It's it's all whatever. And then, and he's like, oh, they are my brothers, as much as Robin, Bran, and Rickon. And then Alistair Thorne's like, not only a bastard, but a traitor's bastard. And Jon immediately is like, all right, it's stabbing time. Let me at him.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you know what? Actually, it's going to be okay. One comment. Let me at him.
Yep.
Just fucking immediately. And then Mormont's like, what did I fucking tell you? I told you not to do anything stupid.
I feel like he was allowed that. I don't think he should have gotten in trouble for that. He didn't hit him.
I didn't even hit him.
I'm like, why should he be in trouble? Like, he's having a rough time. Let him have a little lash out. He didn't do any harm. Mm-hmm. Just be like, stop it, and we're good.
Yep. And I think I had high hopes for you. Yep. And then Jon goes to bed, and he's all sad and stuff. And then Ghost wakes him up in the night. Yeah. Ghost on his hind legs, scrabbling at the door. And he's like, what's going on? Why has it gotten so cold?
Right, he's like, it's cold.
Someone's out there, isn't there? And then it's like, the guard, his guard was sprawling boneless across the narrow steps, looking up at him. And his head's been fully, twisted around.
Yeah.
It can't be, Jon told himself. This is the Lord Commander's tower. It's guarded day and night. This couldn't happen. It's a dream. I'm having a nightmare.
Right.
And then, he's, kind of, looking around, trying to figure out what's going on. And then he hears Mormont's raven shouting for corn. Right. He runs over there. And then he saw a shadow in the shadows, sliding toward the inner door that led to Mormont's sleeping cell. Its eyes shone with an icy blue radiance. And it's fucking Othor, that dead guy.
Yeah.
Who's up and walking now. And Jon cuts him with a sword. And it is weird. He's like, this feels wrong.
Right.
And he's dead. I saw him dead. He cuts the hand off.
And the hand starts, trying to grab at him.
Yep, he felt something scrabble at his ankle, black fingers. The arm was crawling up his leg, ripping at wool and flesh, and he's like, oh my god. And dead Othor slammed into him, knocking him off his feet. And then, the guy's, on top of him, and then Ghost, knocks the guy off of him. And the crow... So Lord Mormont comes in. He's got an oil lamp in his hand. And then the crow goes, burn, 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 burn. And Jon gets the lantern.
Right.
And...
throws it at, the curtain and then puts the curtain on top of it, I feel like. Or something like that.
Yep, he does. Plunged his hand into the flames, grabbed a fistful of the burning drapes, and whipped them at the dead man. Let it burn, he prayed as the cloth smothered the corpse. Gods, please, please let it burn.
Yeah.
and that's the chapter.
Yeah.
Yep, we get a fucking white, like a genuine, because it's genuine magical shit happening.
Right.
Because we get that in the prologue, and then
we don't see any of this.
Anything else even remotely magical.
Honestly, makes sense. We're getting towards the end of the book. It's here's that some payoff on that prologue there.
Yep. Because we haven't really seen anything else explicitly magical. The wall's vaguely magical because it's a giant wall of ice, and something's up with that.
And we hear a lot of legends, but we don't know how accurate any of them are.
Yep, it's we have these dragon eggs that are they're petrified dragon eggs. The dragons used to exist years ago, but what's up with that?
Because I don't know with the weird seasons summer and winter and all of that. They've lived through winters before, but not a crazy winter or something, not a really bad one or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's the older people have lived through winters, but the winters, the last years.
Yeah, but even the last winters that they haven't been
super crazy,
right?
And there's this worry about a long winter that's gonna last forever.
Thinking about because as a magical thing, I was thinking about a little earlier. I was thinking about was it Jon's dream? Mm-hmm. Going into the crypt and people were walking around. And all that.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that and because there's a lot of thoughts about, like, the dreaming about the crypt and, like, all of that.
Oh, yeah, they all, like, seem to dream about the crypt a lot.
Right, and then there's, like, them pranking Arya with, like, walking out of the crypt and, like, all of that. I'm, like, wondering if, like an actual winter, like, like, that they have, like, no one's, like, lived through, has, like, kind of that magical component where it, like, brings, like, it just...
Will bring them back.
The kind of, like, the cold aura that, like, they, like, kind of talk about, if, like, kind of in that area, the, like, dead just kind of automatically become
like whites and come back and stuff. It's interesting. Well, because it's like I feel like there's a bit of an implication, because Jon says that they, like, hate the sunlight,
right?
But, like, maybe during the day the bodies sort of, like, become inactive, and then at night
they that's what I got from this.
Because it's like there's definitely this, like, a big focus on, like, the crypt and the idea of, like, them coming back, and, like, they say, like, early on that they have, like, the iron swords over their laps to, like, sort of keep them there.
Right.
You know, because, like, you know, they hate, like, iron. Like, you know, there's a whole thing where, like, the
iron,
the White Walkers, they hate iron, but then there's also, like, the old kings of Winterfell down in the crypts, they have, like, iron swords over their laps that are supposed to, like, keep them in there, and, like, some of them have rusted away, and, like, I think, like, Ned has this, like, stray thought about, like, I hope that you know isn't, like, bad or whatever.
That is interesting.
There's all sorts of theories about that.
What are their swords made out of now?
I mean, like, steel.
Okay.
They have, you know, just, like, steel as opposed to just, like, pure, like, iron, like, raw iron.
Right.
And also,
steel's more, like, durable.
Yeah, steel is, like, more flexible, so it doesn't like, it's less brittle, it doesn't break, and it's like
which is good for that
sort of thing. It's like it's flexible, it's less brittle, and it is, like, sort of stronger in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's like, it is, like, technically, like, harder. But it's also like,
because I wasn't sure, because the crow was yelling iron, and was it yelling iron before it was yelling burn, or was it just yelling corn?
It was just yelling corn. Okay. It was yelling corn, and it was yelling burn. Which is interesting that, like, the crow seemed to know what to do.
Yeah, I just kind of took that for granted because the crows were being weird in general.
So
I was just like, sure, crow got it.
No. It's like, Mormont's crow is like, you start to get the sense of, like, is this crow, like, smart? Does this crow, like, know what's going on?
I honestly just assumed that was the case and didn't think much of it.
No, it's like, there's this whole thing, it's like, Mormont's crow seems like it's kind of, like, sentient.
Yeah, I was just like, that's not, like, clear.
So this is quite the chapter. It's like a fucking, an actual fucking magical encounter up on the wall. It's fun. Like, I always remember this, like, Jon having to, like, fight this white and, like, burn it and stuff.
Did this happen in the show?
I think so. I think they had something like this happen.
I have, like such bad memory of the end of season 1, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I, like, know the beginning quite well, I feel like. I wonder if I might have seen it, like, the beginning of the season twice. Like, maybe I watched it with someone or something.
I could see that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that's Jon. It's like, a lot is in this chapter with, it's like, figuring out the stuff about the body, and then coming back and having the whole stuff with, like, finding out about, like, his dad and that whole thing, and then ending with, like, this encounter with the body at the end. It's quite a chapter.
I still don't think he should have gotten in trouble.
Yeah.
He didn't even do anything.
And that
guy was antagonizing him on purpose. If Jon should have gotten in trouble, the other guy should have gotten in trouble.
Yeah. It's like, listen, my friend stopped me.
Like, what do you mean?
I didn't do anything. Yeah, but you would have. Yeah, my friend stopped me. So, like, it's fine.
And what's his name knew that would cause, like, nah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And his dad was just labeled a traitor. Just give him, like
everybody gets one.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, he's got the whole day to just be a little
shit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You get a whole day.
Yep. I mean, he's only 14.
Exactly.
So,
Okay, in that case, you get a week. My bad.
Oh man. All right, so that does it for the Jon chapter. You ready to move on?
Yeah.
All right, and then we end up with Bran. we're bouncing over to Winterfell and Bran.
Yep.
And we get to sort of, like, see some of the, like, houses that are under the Starks.
Right.
There's the Karstarks, which, you know, by that name, one would imagine that they're maybe related to the Starks in some way.
Yeah.
They were sort of the last ones to show up. And the other lords were already here with their hosts. And we do get names. We get the Glovers, the Mormonts, Roose Bolton of the Dreadfort, Hornwoods, Tallhearts, Umber. House Umber's sigil is a roaring giant shattering its chains, which my buddy Ethan always really liked.
Got you.
The image of just, like, a giant breaking its chains for this house. Yeah, and the Boltons, like, house symbol is a flayed man.
Wild?
Yeah. And they make reference to, like, oh yeah, the Boltons, they have, like, a room over in the Dreadfort that's just where they just hang up their enemies' skins.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, that's just one of Old Nan's tales, right? Like, the Boltons are fucking crazy.
I, like, had vibes that it's a problem, and I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the Mormonts have, like, a bear, and it's Lady Mormont who's in charge.
Right. We know another Mormont?
Yes, we know two other Mormonts. There's Jeor Mormont, who's up on the wall, and is the commander there. And then there's Jorah Mormont, who's with
Dany.
Who's with Dany.
Right.
And then here we have Mage Mormont.
We've liked pretty much all the Mormonts we've come across.
Yeah, and Mage Mormont.
Excuse me, stop licking me.
She's here, and she's described as wearing armor like all the men do, and she's, like, the head of the house right now because, like, Jeor's up on the wall and Jorah got, like, exiled.
Right.
So she's now like in charge of the family, and she's, like, a badass wearing armor and shit. And there's, like, 12,000 men, or near enough to make no matter, who've all, like, rallied here at Winterfell. And a few so it's like, how many knights? And there's a few knights, but in order to be a knight, you need to be, like, anointed with the 7 oils and one of the houses of worship for the 7. But those lords and the rest honor the old gods and name no knights, but those lords and their sons and sworn swords are no less fierce or loyal or honorable.
Gotcha. Yeah,
so up north, they don't even do knighthood as much.
Right.
Because it's like, that's like a Church of the Seven kind of thing.
Right.
And so it's
not really
like
affiliated.
Yeah, they have, like, a different. We do things a little differently up here. Yeah, others are waiting to join him on King's Road. Yeah. So then it's, like, talking about Robb's mustering all these people, and it's like, they're gonna go down south and meet up with Baronites and Crannogmen and the Lords Manderley and Flint. And the fighting has begun in the Riverlands, and your brother has many leagues to go. So they're going to be heading down north to the Riverlands with the people they have and meeting up with some other people.
Right.
The Crannogmen and the Manderleys and Flints. Yeah. And Bran's riding around on Hodor's. They made, like, a little,
like basket.
Yeah, like a basket to go on, like, his shoulders. Sort of, like, modeled after the ones that, like, they used to, like, carry, like, wood and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's seated, they've saddled Hodor.
Yeah.
And
Bran's like, it makes me feel better than being
like, carried around by him like a baby. It's like, sometimes he does forget and he knocks me into a door frame.
Yeah. Because Hodor
is
quite tall.
Yes, he is quite tall. And he's like, oh, the people will, like, mock you for, like, riding around like that. And he's like, yeah, well, let them.
And it's like, what am I supposed to do? Shut up. Like,
no one mocked him in his bedchamber, but he would not live his life in bed.
Right.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There's quite a bit of, like, talk, like, with both him and, like, Tyrion of, like, you know, like, let me exist and be, like,
yeah.
like, okay, but I do exist and I'm here. Deal with it, you know?
Exactly. But yep, so we get like Bran sort of like seeing all the like stuff that's going around in the castle. But
then just like wanting them to be hidden.
Yeah.
You know, like wanting Tyrion to be hidden, wanting Bran to just stay in your room, you know, like.
Right.
Anyway, good, sorry.
No, you're good. Bran's like, I'm gonna go off to the Godswoods, and be by myself for a little bit. And he has like, it's like, Hodor, you go take a bath in like the hot springs. And I'm just gonna like,
because he's like, oh, Hodor doesn't like baths, so like, he doesn't like soap, so like the heat and like the
he doesn't like the cold water and
so, like showers, so like he'll
so he'll go into like the hot springs and stuff. And Bran is in the Godswoods. He had always liked the Godswoods, even before, but of late he found himself drawn to it more and more. Even the heart tree no longer scared him the way it used to. The deep red eyes carved into the pale trunk still watched him, yet somehow he took comfort from that now. The gods were looking over him, he told himself. The old gods, gods of the Starks and the First Men and the Children of the Forest, his father's gods. He felt safe in their sight. Yeah.
Right, because he felt like it wasn't, like, they couldn't see his family. That's what it was.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, more talks about the weirwood trees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, please make it so Robb won't go away, he prayed softly. Or if he has to go, bring him home safe with mother and father and the girls, and make it so Rickon understands.
Yeah.
Because Rickon is, like, 3.
Yep. Also, quite an interesting 3-year-old. Why does it...
Yeah!
Like, it doesn't quite seem...
Yeah, they found him down in the crypts. Rickon had slashed at them with a rusted iron sword he'd snatched from the dead king's hand.
That is not a 3-year-old. That is... Most of the time, I'm with George on his ages and characters. Most of the time. Not here, quite.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, that is not a 3-year-old with a sword and, you know, like, like...
Yep, Shaggy Dog had come slavering out of the darkness like a green-eyed demon. The wolf was near as wild as Rickon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rickon is like, Catelyn, you have a baby at home.
Yep.
Like a tiny baby who's screaming.
You mean Bran?
Huh?
You mean Bran?
You mean
my
Bran?
Kid? You mean my only... What other kid?
What other kid? What, yeah.
Oh, right.
Rickon.
The 3-year-old.
The 3-year-old who's screaming that everyone leaves, and when they leave, they don't come back.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just fucking crazy. But he's like, someone had to go to hold the neck and help the Tullys against the Lannisters. Bran could understand that, but it did not have to be Robb. And he's like, my Lord Father would never have sent men off to die while he huddled like a craven behind the walls of Winterfell. He said, all Robb the Lord. Yeah, so Robb's having to, Robb seemed half a stranger to Bran now. He's having to be the Lord because Catelyn's fucking not here. Catelyn's still off of the fucking Eyrie.
Also, Robb wouldn't have to be a lord if Catelyn didn't kidnap,
If Catelyn didn't kidnap Tyrion. That's what I'm saying. It's fucking... she didn't even have to, like, go down to, like, King's Landing in the first place. But even if she did that, she'd be fucking back by now, probably. Or, like, in the north. To be like, hey, rally the men, you know? Yeah. And there's a whole thing here. Roose Bolton and Robert Glover, Mage Mormont dressed in mail. She had a granddaughter. If she had a granddaughter, she'd be willing to have him marry. Talking about Robb. And then Lord Kerwin, Lord Hornwood, Lord Umber, who is called the Great John. Great John Umber.
Oh, right, because is that the one that Robb won over?
Yes.
Like, what, he, like, fought him or something. What did he do?
Yeah, because it's like, the Great John, he's like, he wants, so it's one of these weird little things where he's like, we will march back. Oh yeah, he threatened to take his forces home if he was placed behind the Hornwoods or the Kerwins in the order of march. Robb told him he was welcome to do so, and then when they were done with the Lannisters, we will march back north, root you out to your keep, and hang you for an Oathbreaker. And so then Great John gets mad, he flings some ale into the fire, and when some people try and restrain him, he pulls out his sword, and Robb is all like quiet and cool, and he's like, Yeah, Robb only said a quiet word, and in a snarl and the blink of an eye, Lord Umber was on his back, his sword spinning on the floor 3 feet away, and his hand dripping blood where Grey Wind had bitten off 2 fingers.
Right, that's what it was.
Yep. My Lord Father taught me that it was death it was death to bear steel against your liege lord, Robb said. But doubtless you only meant to cut my meat. But then, astonishingly, the huge man laughed. Your meat, he roared, is bloody tough. And then from then on, he's like Robb's right-hand man. He fucking, like, Robb was like, this is an anime. You know, he fucking anime-assed, like, if I beat you, then you'll respect me, which works for the Umbers anyway. Yeah, because, like, Great John's, like, as tall as Hodor is, so he's, like... also like 7 feet or whatever, and they have like a giant as their sigil, and then we hear from like Osha that like, oh, Hodor looks like he's got some giant in him,
right,
and yeah, that room that they have the Dreadfort where the Boltons hang the skins of their enemies. That's just one of old Nan's stories, isn't it?
Right.
I don't know, but yeah, because it's like, oh, it's so cool. But then, like, later that night, Robb had talked to Bran and was like, I was so fucking scared. Yeah.
Which, like, fair. Mm-hmm. If that didn't work, that could have been, rough.
Yeah, it could have been real rough. He's just like, I wish Father was here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one... Oh, yeah, and then they're, like, hearing word about their father, and it's like, no one seemed to know for certain. Every traveler told a different tale, each more terrifying than the last. Right. And then we get, like, different stories about, like, oh, the Baratheons had laid siege to King's Landing, and, Arya and Sansa had been murdered by the Hound. Lord Tywin Lannister was marching on the Eyrie. Just, like, all these crazy things. Right. One wide-sodden tale-teller had claimed that Rhaegar Targaryen had returned from the dead and was marshalling a vast host of ancient heroes to Dragonstone to reclaim his father's throne, which just makes him...
like, just pieces of, like, because she's named him Rhaego or something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's like... she's pregnant with Rhaego, and there's also like maybe trying to get armies there, but that was like, that's funny. I hadn't even kind of like thought about it that way. I assumed that's where it came from.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like Wheel of Time.
Oh yeah. I was also thinking about that.
And like the horn.
Yeah.
Rhaegar's returned with the horn of Valyr. Yeah. Yeah, and then Robb's like mad because he got the letter from Sansa, and it's like, she says, Father conspired at treason with the king's brothers. King Robert is dead, and Mother and I are summoned to the Red Keep to swear fealty to Joffrey. And she says nothing of Arya, nothing, not so much as a word. Damn her, what's wrong with the girl? Bran felt all cold inside. And she lost her wolf, he said.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
And she was so, like, manipulated in that whole conversation. Yeah. Like, it sucks that she forgot about her, but, like, she didn't really have control in the entire conversation.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's horrible, but,
And so then we sort of cut back to, like, Bran, like, in the present, like, in the Godswood.
Right.
A faint wind sighed through the Godswood, and the red leaves stirred and whispered. Summer bared his teeth. You hear them, boy? A voice asked. And Osha is standing there. And it's like, she's been set to work in the kitchens since she got, like, captured. Yeah. They're my gods, too. Beyond the wall, they're the only gods. Tell me what you meant about hearing the gods. You ask them, and they're answering. Open your ears. Listen, you'll hear. It's only the wind. Who do you think sends the wind, if not the gods? They see you, boy. They hear you talking. That rustling, that's them talking back. What are they saying? They're sad. Your lord brother will not get help from them, not where he's going. The old gods have no power in the south. The weirwoods there were all cut down. Yeah. Jesus, were all cut down thousands of years ago. How can they watch your brother when they have no eyes?
Yeah.
And then he listens again, and he thought he could hear the sadness now, but nothing more than that. And then Hodor shows back up, and she's like, now there's a big man. He has giant's blood in him, or I'm the queen. And they're like, what? And she's like, he's like, Maester Luwin says that there aren't any more giants. They're all dead, like the children of the forest. And she's like, well, if he goes up beyond the wall, he'll find giants then, and they'll find him. My brother killed one, 10 foot tall she was, and stunted at that. They've been known to grow big as 12 and 13 feet. Fierce things they are, too. All hair and teeth, and the wives have beards like their husbands, so there's no telling them apart. The women take human men for lovers, and it's from them the half-bloods come. It's harder on the women they catch. It's hard to go the other way around, but, the cold winds are rising, and men go out from their fires and never come back. Or if they do, they're not men no more, but whites with blue eyes and cold black hands. I was born up there, born of the free folk, we remember. So they know them as the wildlings, but the wildlings see themselves as the free folk.
Right.
Which I think is just interesting. They're like, nah, we're free. We don't have, a king.
Right.
Except for, like, Mance Rayder. It's like, he can call himself king beyond the wall he likes, but he's still just another black crow who fled down from the Shadow Tower. So, Mance Rayder was actually, like, someone from the Night's Watch.
Oh.
Because he was...
Is that what they're saying there?
Yep. He was still just another old black crow who flew down south from the Shadow Tower. And the Shadow Tower, we know, is one of the, like, fortifications along the wall.
Got you.
So it's like, they're in black. He was a crow. He comes from the Shadow Tower. So he was, like... a member of the Night's Watch who, like, just like went up north. Yeah, who, like, deserted and is now king beyond the wall.
Got you.
Yeah. But she's like, I don't give a shit about that.
right.
Fucking folks are dying up there. I'm getting out of here.
Yep.
Yeah. And, and she's like, that no one will, like, listen to her. And, Bran's like, tell me, Robb will listen to me. I know he will. It's like, it's north he should be taking his swords. North, not south. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. And considering we just had that chapter with, like, Jon and, like, the White, it's like, we know that there's, like, something to what she's saying.
Yeah.
And, Bran is, sort of takes that in. And it's like, oh, okay. And he's like, I want to be a knight. Maester Luwin is like, hey, Bran, you want to be a maester?
Right,
and Bran's like, no, I want to be a knight. Well, we're knights of the mind.
Right. Yeah, and he's like, oh, I want to learn magic.
Yeah, I want to learn magic. The crow promised me that I would fly. I can teach you history, healing, herb lore. I can teach you the speech of ravens and how to build a castle, and the way a sailor steers his ship by the stars, all this stuff. But, the Citadel in Old Town, they can teach you 1,000 things more. So the Citadel in Old Town is where, like, the Maesters are sort of, like, headquartered. It's, like, where their sort of, like, big university is.
Okay.
But Bran, no man can teach you magic. The children could. The children of the forest. Yeah. And, you're the Lord in Winterfell now, Robb told him. Yeah. They're trying to get Rickon to, like, say goodbye to Robb, but he's like, no. Yeah. No farewell. I told him, Bran said. He says no one ever comes back. He can't be a baby forever. He's a Stark and near 4. It's like, my dude.
Yeah.
He is a baby.
Yo.
He is a baby. Like, what do you expect from him? He is 3 years old. These are like his first fucking, like, actual memories that he's going to have. Like, 3 and 4 is when you start actually, like, turning on.
Right.
And, like, gaining
like
long-term memories. So, like, some of his first memories are going to be, like, this shit.
Right.
Which is, not good for little old Rickon. Yeah. So, yeah, that's Bran's chapter. It's, like, mostly just kind of Bran seeing what's going on, but we get a little bit of his, like, he's praying to the old gods, he's around the weirwoods,
right.
And he's talking about, like, magic, and Osha's talking about, like, giants and whites and all this sort of stuff, so we get some of, like, information on that kind of stuff, which is interesting,
and from someone who's, like, from there.
Right, exactly.
And not just, like, legends.
Yeah, because, like, it's interesting because, like, Old Nan seems to have, like, similar... But they're just like, oh, they're just stories. Right,
just stories.
But with Osha, it's like, no, this is real. Yep. Anything else for Bran?
Nah.
Alrighty. Alright, and on to the last chapter of the evening with Dany. We're with Daenerys. And Khal Drogo is gonna be going off, like, hunting or whatever. But Dany's like, the stallion who mounts... He's like, the stallion who mounts the world has no need for iron chairs. It was prophesied the stallion will ride the world to the ends of the earth. The earth ends at the Black Salt Sea. No horse can cross the poison water. And she's like, but there are ships and...
Right. And she, like, explains it as, like,
wooden horses with 100 legs that fly across the sea on wings full of wind.
Yeah.
We will speak no more of wooden horses and iron chairs. I'm gonna go hunting. And she's like, savage beasts he did not fear, but any man who had ever drawn breath, but the sea was a different matter. To the Dothraki, water that a horse could not drink was something foul. And so it's like, they have a kind of like a superstition about it. And she's like, alright, I'm gonna go off with Jorah.
Honestly makes sense. Poison water. You can't drink it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And goes and gets Jorah, who's like wearing more like Dothraki clothes now. And she's like talking with him about it. He's like, the Khal has never seen the Seven Kingdoms. They are nothing to him. He probably just thinks of them as just like, oh, like little islands out there with like, not much to really worry about. He thinks of islands, a few small cities clinging to rocks in the manner of Lorath or Lys, surrounded by stormy seas. The riches of the east must seem a more tempting prospect. But he must ride west. Please help me make him understand. It's like, the Dothraki do things on their own time. Have patience. And she's thinking about, like, her future. She's like, was Vez Dothrak to be her home forever? When she looked at the crones of the Dosh Khaleen, was she looking at her future? And she's, kind of like, just not sure what to do.
Right.
And Jorah's like, let's go to the market. And so they go off to the Western Market. She's, a lot of her sort of, like, pondering.
Yeah, there's a lot of her, like, walking around and just, like...
sort of introspecting.
Yep, and she kind of loves, like, both the markets and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's, like, a lot going on there, and she sees, like, the statues of, like, the forgotten, like, the gods that they've, like, stolen the statues of and all this sort of stuff, and...
Yeah. And, because, Drogo isn't around, she's riding around, like she's having someone carry her instead of like walking or whatever.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yep. And and she's thinking about like, an honored place in the Dosh Khaleen awaited for her when she grew old, and in her womb grew a son who would one day bestride the world. That should be enough for any woman, but not for the dragon.
Yeah.
With Viserys gone, Daenerys was the last, the very last. She was the seed of kings and conquerors, and so too the child inside her. She must not forget. So she's still kind of like holding on to some of that.
Yeah. And
she's at the market. We get like some descriptions of different kinds of people. The Ashai, the Kartheen, the Yeti, all these like different places. And, she thinks about how when she was little, she liked to play in the bazaar nearby, and, and then, and then Jorah's like, I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta
go do something, don't worry about it.
He's like, I gotta get a letter or something.
Yeah, I gotta go get, like, a letter, or see if there's any letters or whatnot.
And she's like, I'll come with you.
And he's like, no, don't worry about it, I'll be back. And she's like, that's odd. Maybe,
fine.
Maybe he's just going to go, like, get, like, a prostitute or something.
Yeah.
He's being a little,
Yeah, she's like, some, like coy about it or something like that.
Yeah. And, she's, having a good time at the market. She's laughing, and someone's like, you have not laughed since your brother, was crowned by Drogo. Yeah. It's good to see. And she's like, it is nice to laugh and to be happy. And then she comes across someone who's selling wine. He's like, oh, I have sweet reds, I have whites from all these places. I have this Dornish wine or whatever. A taste for the Khaleesi. Sweet red from Dorne. Just a taste, if you'd be so kind. And then she speaks, and he's like, my lady, are you Tyroshi? And she's like, my speech may be Tyroshi, and my garb Dothraki, but I am of Westeros, of the Sunset Kingdoms. And that's actually kind of interesting. I'd forgotten about this, but, like, she has, like, a Tyroshi accent because she, like, grew up there.
Right.
Essentially, because she wasn't raised in Westeros, so it's kind of thinking about, like, the show and how she's kind of British like the rest of them.
Yeah,
it does kind of make sense because of, like, her brother, which she was also, like, raised by, like, what's his name?
Right.
The, like, merchant guy who, like, sold her off, and she was like
Right.
over in like the free cities. She was in like Tyrosh, and so it's like it's just interesting. Or Tyr, I think it's Tyr, and they're Tyroshi. I don't remember.
Yeah, that makes
And yeah, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you're Daenerys Targaryen." It's like, well, in that case, forget this other wine. Have this wine instead. This one, specifically this one. It's great. It's the best. And it's like, oh, cool. That sounds great. And then Jorah shows up and it's like, no.
Yep. He's like, open that up.
Open that up.
He's not, like, sure at first. He's just like, hey, open that.
Yeah, open that. It's like, I'm thirsty, open it. It's like, and then he smells and it's like, you taste it. Me? No. It's a poor merchant who drinks his own wine. You will drink it. It's like, either you drink it or we force you to. And he's like, oh, okay. And he shrugs and then he knocks the cup away and tries to like
run off.
Yeah, he like knocks the cask over and runs off. And then he ends up getting caught. And the like merchant captain, the guy who's sort of like in charge of the merchants around there, is like, you can take all of his stuff.
Yeah. Like, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry about this. His goods I give to you as well, princess. Small token of regret that one of mine would do this thing.
Because this is also supposed to, it's still in the place where you're not supposed to, like, spill blood and stuff like that.
Yep, you're not supposed to spill any blood and just try to, like, fucking kill her with poison.
Yeah.
Sort of, like, technically following the rules. Yeah, once I read Magister Illyrio's letter, I feared that he might have done this. It's like, I didn't know at first, because she's like, how do you know? It's like, I didn't know, but, you know, once he refused, I could tell. And it's like, oh, was this the usurper? Yes. The knight drew out a folded parchment. A letter to Viserys from Magister Illyrio, Robert Baratheon offers lands and lordship for your death or your brother's. And so it's like, oh, so he doesn't know yet that my brother's dead.
Right. And it's still pre all of them knowing that Robert's dead.
Yep. They don't even know that Robert's dead. Yep. It's like, oh, yes, they don't know that my brother's dead. But it's like, yeah, and you don't know that, that he's dead. And she ends up taking one of her eggs, one of the dragon eggs, and like putting it in like the burning coals.
Yeah, she's like, this, like, I'm kind of weird for this, but I just need to do this now.
I just need to do this just to see if like anything happens. Your brother Rhaegar was the last dragon, Sir Jorah had said. Dany gazed at her egg sadly. What had she expected? 1,000 years ago they had been alive, but now they were only pretty rocks. They could not make a dragon. A dragon was air and fire, living flesh, not dead stone. Yeah. And then Jorah's like, this guy is just going to be the first, but he will not be the last. Men will risk a lot for this sort of thing. And then Khal Drogo, he comes back, he finds out about this, and he's like, Drogo, who was one of the guys who, like, helped catch the guy, and Jorah, to each of you I say, choose any horse you wish from my herds, and it is yours. Except, you know, mine and...
Yeah.
Except mine and Dany's, of course, but you know, that goes without saying. And to Rhaego, son of Drogo, the stallion who will mount the world, to him I also pledge a gift. To him I will give this iron chair his mother's father sat in. I will give him 7 kingdoms. I, Drogo, Khal, will do this thing. And he's like, I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna fuck shit up. I'm gonna tear shit up. Drogo, son of Barbo. So we just get like his dad's name, which isn't important, but we do get. And he's like, someone tried to fucking kill my wife, so now I'm like,
so now I'm gonna make it the whole
so now I'm gonna make
world's problem.
The whole world's problem. It's like, oh, so these 7 kingdoms motherfuckers are trying to kill my wife? Well, I'm gonna fucking kill them then. Alright, bet. I'm gonna fucking...
Dany's like, oh, so I just needed to get
almost assassinated
to get what I wanted? Oh, sweet.
Oh, sweet.
Should have thought about that.
Yep, and then they have, like, the wine cellar fucking, like, tied to her, like, horse or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, as long...
No harm will come to him as long as he can keep up.
Yep. Which I do remember that they have in the show. I remember them having that guy,
I remember that.
Like, trailing behind or whatever. But yeah, I always remember that as well.
I do remember this in the show.
Yep. Yeah, because it's like... Because we know that Jorah is actually working...
Right.
Like,
Ish.
ish, like he's supposed to be like working with like Varys and whatnot.
I don't know how long he hasn't been working with them. 'Cause,
right.
like, at some point it changed and he's like...
He now seems to be like loyal to Dany like, properly. Yep. Yep, which is interesting.
Then they're gonna go talk about it, right? Because like didn't they end the chapter with like he's like, I'll explain it or something? Or no, maybe I'm just like crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I thought she did ask about it, but I might be...
It's not right there at the end, but maybe earlier there's something. You know, I don't think there's...
I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's okay. But yeah, so it seems like Jorah thwarts this assassination attempt. So it seems like he's actually like on her side and not like on sort of Varys' side anymore, or you know, on like working as a spy for them. Yeah, which is interesting because it seems like, you know, Dany is just kind of like you know, a good kid, and you know he's spends all this time with her, and she's just like, you know. It's like he doesn't seem to want anything like bad to happen to her, you know, since he's actually like spent time with her.
Yeah, he's like, she's just chill. Like I don't.
She's been through a lot.
Like
she
her brother was a piece of work, but you know, like.
But he's fucking dead now, and that's probably for the best.
Like if he would have gotten like a thing to assassinate. I've already forgotten his name.
Viserys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like deleted him.
Yep.
He's the worst. I hated him.
Oh yeah, that is for sure.
What was I saying? Shoot.
That if they'd gotten like an assassin to kill Viserys, he probably would have happen. Yeah. Like it's like, yeah, fuck this guy.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
This guy's a real piece of shit. Yeah, but Dany's cool. Dany's cool, and he's like, yeah, I'm Team Dany now. Fuck the Seven Kingdoms. They fucking exiled me.
Yeah, like, why the fuck? Like, why? I don't know why he like. I don't know why they think he would have that much loyalty to them.
Yeah,
he's like way off. Like
it's like, oh, but we'll like pardon you or whatever, and it's like,
but then he's living like on his own for however long. Why does he need a pardon from y'all? Like
yeah. It's like at this point, so he's like
living his own life. What does he need?
And like at this point, he's like, actually, it's pretty nice here, just with Dany and the Khalasar. Like you know,
not, like
stuff's
he's
going
basically
well.
has like royal life again now.
Yeah,
like he's back with a
Yeah, so it's like things are fine for Jorah right now. Yeah, but the thing is at some point, do you think Dany's gonna find out that he like was a spy?
Maybe, and I don't know how much she would care about it.
Yeah,
because he didn't.
Yeah,
I don't know, like. Maybe she would, but.
Yeah.
I don't think he really did much other than just like give them information.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it for Dany and for this section.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts or questions or anything?
I don't think so.
Alrighty. Alright. So I guess what we've been reading.
Yeah.
Been reading anything outside
What have I been reading? This is I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited for a month from now when I will get to read it. Will White announced the release date for The Pilot, which is book 4 in the Last Horizon series. And I've reread it. I've read that series, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. I've read it like in the past couple months, like twice. And I'm going to reread it like again before The Pilot comes out. Like,
yep. And recently you were like, I fucking hate Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West because I'm just trying to look for Last Horizon stuff.
And I just come up with this redhead girl. I'm like, okay, like, I don't care though. I just want to see...
Get out of here, Aloy.
Right. I want to see magic sci-fi spaceship nonsense.
I don't want to see red-haired girl. I want to see red-skin friendship boy.
Exactly. Three-eyed red-skinned friendship boy.
Yep. And
great series.
I haven't been reading anything. I've been continuing to put off Wheel of Time.
Yep.
But we have, of course, read the new chapter of One Piece.
Yeah, as always. It's been crazy.
It's been crazy. And no break next week. Again.
Yeah. And we got the Chopper reveal for the live action.
Yes, we got the Chopper reveal for the live action, which, you know, it's like...
It's growing on me.
Yeah. It's like, it looks fine. There's the worry about, like, how well they're going to be able to, like, interact with each other. And also it's like, you know...
It was always going to be hard. Like, it was always going to be super difficult to pull off Chopper.
Yep. And right now, like, the little bit that we've seen, Chopper feels a little, like... annoying kid.
Yeah.
It's like we need Chopper, you know, but we'll see how it ends up actually being, because like, you know, this is just like a little thing.
It's just like a little thing that was done like for the announcement. So I'm hoping in the actual thing he'll move a little bit better, and the voice will sound just like with more to say and stuff. There'll be more
sort of like emotional like range over the course of the season and whatnot, you know.
Yeah, then the voice might be better and stuff. And not that I like don't like the voice, but it could be that like kind of little annoying little kid type of character.
Yeah, if they sort of skew Chopper a little too young in his kind of like characterization, because Chopper is like the youngest.
Yeah,
but he's still supposed to be like
he's only a year younger than Luffy.
Yeah, because like Luffy's 17, he's supposed to be like 16.
Yeah,
so it's like, you know, and he has always been the most sort of like little kid-esque, but it's still just like, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, the fact that they do start with him doing the like gag of like hiding wrong.
Yeah, of hiding. Yeah.
Is kind of funny, but
yeah. I think we'll have to see how they pull it off. We gotta wait till next year.
We do. It's 2026, and it's just I watched a fucking Noah Gervais has been just like pumping out new videos. Normally it's a long time between his like video essays, but he's just been pumping out new ones, and so I watched one of those recently. His one on Cult of the Lamb, which is not a game I would have expected him to talk about, but I'm just like, he's come up with like 3 new videos in like the past like couple days, and I'm like, what the hell? But there's also something else that I was going to say, but I don't remember what it was now.
Yeah. I've also been watching another One Piece reaction channel because I am like that. And it's Halo and Kiss, and it's cute. Like they're a good channel. It's these 2 sisters. They watched the live action first, and they've now finally gotten past
where the live action was with their
and they've been loving it and stuff. They love the live action, and they're like there's been a few moments where they're like, oh no, this is better, you know.
Like, it's always gonna kind of be the thing,
which is like, it's just kind of how it is when you have to condense something. There's just gonna be something like that's lost, just like lost, and like that's, you know, that's fine.
I've been waiting for, like, you know, like Silk Song. Supposedly Silk Song is supposed to be this year.
I've heard that there's supposed to be release date soon and stuff.
Yeah, and so I watched a video by Dan Olson. He was at like some sort of like panel. Like he did a panel at like a con or whatever, and it was talking it was silk posting, and he was talking about, like, you know, Silk Song, like shit posting, like people doing like fake announcements and stuff, and just sort of talking about that and how, like, you know, it's funny, but also like you gotta be like, do it properly. You know, it's like some things are a little bit like tasteless or whatever. But when he was asked about it, it's like it's like, given when we heard that it's supposed to be this year but no month, it's December. He's like, it's December. I feel like it's probably December. And hearing like 2026, it's like,
people are hoping like January, because so from what I've heard, people are like, they should be ready to release at the end of this year, like with when they filmed it and all of that. But Stranger Things is coming out end of this year. It has 3 release dates, like for the season and stuff. November, December, and then January 1st.
Gotcha.
So it's like they're gonna want Stranger Things to have that entire season, completely like have that season, and then do a big marketing push, have One Piece be its thing. So it people are hoping for like maybe January, February.
Like end of January, sort of like February.
And because they're supposed to be starting filming season 3 at the end of this year. It's like in a few months. So then people are hoping that it'll be like a 2027 maybe, or like late 2027 release for season 3. Like hopefully they'll be able to get it on
sort of like
a better schedule, because people are like, 3 years for like in between a season, people aren't going to be able to consistently like do that. And I'm like, I feel like people are getting it lost in like, this was an abnormal time, like 3 years between these 2 seasons because of the writers' strikes and like stuff like that. Like Yeah, and like tail end of COVID still and all that.
Yep. So it's like what's coming up should hopefully like be a little bit closer together and whatnot. Yep. It is exciting because it's also like season 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be like
they're so like connected.
They're so connected. It's gonna be like the Alabasta saga.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because they're doing basically like Baroque works for basically as the villains for like the first 2 seasons. Or the number. I mean, this season. And
the second season.
Yeah.
And, the next 2 seasons. Yeah. Yep. And then after that, it's like, who even knows?
Yeah.
How it's gonna end up.
Because
like,
then it'll get into like Jaya Skypiea. I think that they'll massively. I think they'll cut down Jaya and Skypiea to be like. It won't be a full season
of Jaya and Skypiea.
No, I don't think Jaya.
Really?
No, maybe. But
I could see the whole season being kind of like episode 1 is sort of like Jaya and then we're like in Skypiea.
But like, I don't know if we do an entire season in the sky.
Yeah.
That's why I'm thinking they might massively cut down Skypiea.
Yeah.
And start doing...
getting ready for like Enies Lobby and stuff.
Start getting ready for Water 7 and stuff. And really get that.
Yeah, because it's like... Because it's like once we get back from Skypiea...
It just goes.
It just, well, we then go into, like, Long Ring Longland.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about it. Yeah.
So it's like, how exactly are they going to do Long Ring Longland?
It's going to get cut.
Yeah, just like Long Ring
I think Long Ring Longland, yeah.
It's basically just, they fucking adapt G8 instead.
I went, like, or they do it in, like, such a small capacity, almost Easter egg. Like just, like, such a small...
Yeah, we had like fucking one episode where like the Foxy Pirates are like there.
Yeah.
And it just sort of like ends with like Aokiji being like showing up or whatever.
Yeah.
Essentially. Or we do just fucking fully cut that and we just have like we go to Long Ring Longland, we meet the guy on the stilts and like you know how we have to like save those people and like Aokiji's there and like the people who were like their ship.
We just do that. You don't do.
Yeah, we don't do Foxy. We just essentially do that little thing. Sort of together and have like Aokiji be there.
Meet Aokiji,
and then
that would be like that. The kind of. Getting ready for.
For Water 7 and whatnot. I could see that. I could maybe see that, because I'm like I just feel like you need a season. Like you need to have
adventure season.
Yes, for like you know,
yeah.
The whole like getting Robin sort of like used to the crew and stuff. So it's like you have like Jaya and Skypiea, and then maybe you could end with us like coming back from like coming back down, and then like the next season we like start with like introducing like Aokiji and stuff, and then we do like Water 7.
It could end the season introducing Aokiji.
Yeah, with like a tease for like Aokiji and whatnot. And then we do like Aokiji and we get to like Water 7. Half the season is like Water 7. Or maybe the whole season's Water 7.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard.
It's hard because it's like half the season is Water 7. The other half of the season's like Water 7 and the train.
Right.
And then the next season is just Enies Lobby and post Enies Lobby.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because like things could get moved around and squished and you know.
Right. Yeah. Because like how are they gonna do like Frankie?
I mean, you know.
You know.
There's a lot.
Just like Frankie and his weird arms and his chin and just like running around in a Speedo the whole time.
But they already have the style down.
They do.
To where I don't think it'll feel that absurd.
Right. I'm just like...
It's like that's how One Piece works anyway. Is that slow, like...
Right. I just wonder, like, are they... Like, how prosthetic is he gonna be?
Like, would they actually do the big arms or just, you know...
Yeah, and also the, like, you know, the weapons left and stuff and all that. Just, like... Yeah. This is our customary... See, this is what it's going to be. Because pretty much every week there's a new, like, One Piece chapter. It's just, like, the what we've been reading section is just our, like...
One Piece.
our weekly mini One Piece podcast. Yep. The podcast within a podcast where we talk about One Piece.
I love it.
Yeah.
Because we do need a place to talk about One Piece.
We do. We should just, like, you know, start our own One Piece podcast separate or whatever. But then it's another fucking thing we have to record. And we've already been, like, behind lately. Sorry about that. Yeah, what are you talking about? It's never happened. Never running late. Never anything. But yeah, this has been Let's Talk About Book.
Has.
Now you can go forth and think about book on your own time. Be sure to do the liking, commenting, subscribing, and all that. Tell us if you're excited for for One Piece Season 2.
Yeah.
And I guess also something about Game of Thrones, I guess, if you really want to...
We were talking about Game of Thrones this whole video.
Yeah, I guess if you wanted to leave a comment about Game of Thrones, it's also allowed. Can't stop you. So yeah, have a lovely whatever time it is.
Have a lovely day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.